Hello, hello. Can y'all hear me good? I am sorry about being late. I have been scrambling to find. I had the link for the live stream up earlier, and then I couldn't find it again. So now I have it up. We are all good to go. Is anybody in the chat here? I see a K. Can everybody see me good? Do I need to adjust anything? Is my mic good? I figure we can just go through some of the rumors, and basically everything got leaked last night, but I figure we can watch it today and make sure there's not anything extra going on and just kind of see what's going on. Hey, anybody here in the chat? So I'm going to go ahead this is my second time going live ever, so just FYI, there may be a few technical glitches, but I will work my best to make it happen. We're going to do a quick audio test just to make sure that everything is good to go. There's no echo. Anybody here? Anybody want to chat? We hear good. I am doing some audio tests. If anybody can confirm or deny what is going on. Is anybody here watching? Y'all want to chat a little bit? Here. Alright, so y'all excited for the new camera? Drop out the comments. Chat a little bit. So a lot of things leaked yesterday. I am unsure if y'all are aware, we have Sony Alpha rumors. They leaked a lot of the information yesterday. I see some people in the chat. Anybody want to weigh in? Do you think there's any more surprises for us, or do you think pretty much all the leaks have covered everything? And if you're in here, be sure to give a little thumbs up. It's a big boost to send it to everybody else. But yeah, let's get a conversation going. See me looking down at my phone, it's because I am checking audio. We have the site pulled up right here, ready to go. I just need some people to talk to me, so I'm not talking to myself. So if you are new to this channel, we do some vlogs, travel, some camera stuff, and that's always fun and exciting. And if you're into that type of stuff, well, glad you're here. So we did this thing. This is my second time going live ever. I did this with the Canon R5 announcement, and it went really well. We had a lot of people talking and chatting below. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody's here and able to listen. So a lot of things leaked last night. Sony Alpha Rumors has it right here. There was a whole video of what got released. And I'm not exactly sure who it got released from. But whoever it was is going to get in trouble. Maybe I can see it down here. Who accidentally. So basically, I guess they're like an ambassador, similar to like a Canon ambassador, or they had an early review, test review, and they released it. Oh, Doug Guerrera. He leaked it last night, and so we can kind of go over a little bit about what we learned, if you guys want. Is there anybody here? Drop a thumbs up. I see 6 people are watching right now. Anybody want to drop in the comments and give me a hey, what's going on? I see 6 people are watching right now. Anybody want to drop in the comments? Give me a hey, what's going on? What's up, what's up, what's up? If you're new to the live stream, sorry there was a little bit of a hiccup earlier, just getting everything to work. It's my second time going live, so sometimes there are some hiccups, but last time with the Canon event, we had fun, we had everything work, we had the live event going on. If you hear an echo coming up, it's because of my phone. I am also monitoring my audio through my YouTube channel on my phone. Anybody want to drop in the comments section and say what's up? The official live event is right here, my friend. I'm just kidding. So it is on sonyuniverse.com live/A7S III. But definitely appreciate if you stick around and watch it on here. I was saying that a lot of the information has been leaked already. There was a video that went live last night by accident, apparently, and it was a review unit. So if you have any questions about it, I think we know a whole lot already. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. So is it Mark? Because I see Get Mark 3D, but I don't know if that's just part of your name. Or would you rather me prefer me call you Get Mark 3D? Use the whole handle. Get marked. Get marked. Okay, got it. You are Mark. Cool. Well, I'll just say Get Mark. I'm guessing, do you have a channel of your own? So I'll just keep referring to you as Get Mark so people know, hey, Mark's out there. So have you went to read about any of the rumors yourself? They're quite a we really know a whole lot about what's going on with this camera. It will have the dual card slots. It's gonna have dual CF Express Type A cards and dual SD cards. So it looks like they're going into the same slot, or there's room for 2 slots. I'm not really exactly sure. I guess we'll know about that more in a few minutes. But that's what's going on that. Here's the menu system. It has a fully touch menu interface, which is incredible. If people don't know, it has the tilty screen. But a lot of things have gotten leaked. So if anybody has any questions they'd like to know, I can go through those. Big thing here is the CF Express Type A cards. They're not quite out yet, but Sony's supposed to be launching. I think they have some Type A's available. Appreciate the like. Thank you. Yeah, if anybody's in here want to throw a like, it'll really boost this video and get it out to more people. So the CF Express cards Type A, Sony is going to be launching their own type of cards. And as of right now, I'm not sure if there's any other brand with them out. I guess there is, but they are an expensive card. Full HDMI. So what are y'all's expectations? Because they've been saying, hey, we're going to surpass your expectations. What is something that you guys are wanting to see from this live stream, or from all the leaks? Have they surpassed your expectation already? Or are you disappointed? You see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at my phone to help monitor audio. So we have a few people here. Mark is chatting with us. Mark has been helpful. Anybody else want to chat? It is a discussion. I mean, obviously it's a live watch too, so it's a reaction. I'll be sure to be animated. I'll go, oh my gosh. What? No way they did that. Okay, sorry. I won't be that animated. I'll watch like a normal person. Yes. The live stream director is being held at Sony Alpha Universe .com/live A7S III. But if you'd like to stick here, really appreciate it. Okay, video itching. I'm just going to go with video itching. So yes, 4K 120 is possible, and it is happening. That's already been pretty much confirmed. A lot of the specs have been released. They were released last night. There is actually only a couple minutes left, unless we're on a... Yes. Right here, it says a 2-minute countdown. That's what it's telling me. Unless they've delayed a little bit, which is possible. Yeah, so I have it all ready to go right here. I'm going to go ahead and cut off the music so that we make sure we don't miss anything. So we should be right here. Yeah. They're saying, okay, so saying wow here. Can I just call you itching? Can I say that? Am I saying that last part right? Yeah, 4K 120 is it's a pretty big deal. I think they're doing the raw portion of the output over HDMI, but yeah, it's still happening. There is just 4K 20 in camera as far as I know, and I guess we will learn here very shortly. Hey, what's up, man? Yeah, I did stream the R5. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. I'm glad you're back. So yeah, R5 was my first event that I live streamed. This is my second event. Oh, there we go. We got a timer here. Douche, douche. Y'all excited? Is your expectations gonna be exceeded? I think most of the specs and stuff have been leaked, but is there anything in particular you guys are wanting? Refresh my window. My window is refreshed. Do you hear any audio coming out though? I just want to make sure. Maybe they haven't started any audio. Uh-oh. Here we go, guys. Are y'all... Okay, I am not getting audio. Are y'all getting audio? I think it is their stream and not my stream because I am not hearing it. Here we are. Okay, we're live. We got audio. Okay, cool. While it's coming up, I am checking audio while it's starting to get started, so y'all letting me know, make sure everything's sounding good. Y'all can hear the event and y'all can hear me, or hear less of me and more of the event.
Now the long wait is over. Today, we are proud to introduce a new full-frame mirrorless camera, the Alpha 7S Mark III, which will completely change the way creators can see the world. A new dimension of visual experience starts from here. The Alpha 7S Mark III is a complete redesign of the whole S-series system. Everything is new, including the image sensor and processor. Our goal is to meet and exceed expectations of the creators who've been waiting so long for this camera.
Supreme.
Since its sensational debut back in 2014, sensitivity has been the root of the Alpha 7S series. Carrying on this legacy, the new Alpha 7S Mark III opens the unknown world of visual expression thanks to a newly developed Sony Exmor R back-illuminated CMOS sensor.
People were wondering if they would.
To assure overwhelming picture quality, the new image sensor has 12.1 megapixel resolution, securing a large pixel size. Now, evolved with a back-illuminated structure, it produces the best ever 4K quality combined with high sensitivity. Pixel size matters because a large pixel is indispensable for shooting high-quality movies. The larger the pixel, the more incoming light with less noise, resulting in higher picture quality for all kinds of shooting occasions. On top of the legendary S-series standing for sensitivity, the 7S Mark III has been enhanced with speed as well. The new image sensor boasts twice the data readout speed and a new focal plane phase detection autofocus system. The back-illuminated structure benefits not only in increased sensitivity, but also the data readout speed performance. In addition, a large amount of autofocus data can be transferred in real time. These improvements will greatly expand shooting capabilities and expression. To realize supreme imaging experience and versatile operation, a new image processing engine has been created, the BIONZ XR. This consists of two different processors combined.
I'm still here, but I want you guys to be able to see the full event.
Compared
if you'd
to the
like to
conventional
see my
system.
face,
The
we can do
innovative
that
new
too. I'll
engine
switch
is
back and
born
forth.
with a new architecture, having capacity aiming for future imaging experience. By combining the performance of the new image sensor and the new image processor, an enormous amount of data processing in real time can now be realized. This initiates a whole new dimension of visual expression. What is a new dimension of visual expression? The new Alpha 7S Mark III boasts the best ever supreme 4K movie quality in Alpha history. The Alpha 7S Mark III utilizes the rich data of full pixel readout without pixel binning or line skipping in every 4K recording format for every recording frame rate.
A little bit of a shot at Canon.
The astonishing
no
sensitivity performance allows creators to have more flexibility than ever to control exposure while maintaining beautiful picture quality. This is true for all lighting conditions. Performance in low-light situations have been improved on average 1 stop or more in mid to high ISO range when shooting S-Log3.
Wow.
The dynamic range is a wide 15+ stops for movies,
goodness.
allowing you to capture from shadow to highlight in various shooting scenes and conditions, and offering excellent flexibility during the post-production process. A new addition is the 10-bit depth, which has 4 times richer gradation compared to 8-bit, and 4:2:2 color sampling is available in every recording format and frame rate, either in 4K or Full HD. The Alpha 7S Mark III offers all intra-frame internal recording with the new XAVC SI format for both 4K and Full HD, up to maximum 1200 megabits per second when shooting 4K 5x slow motion in slow and quick mode. Think of the benefits of combining all of these capabilities together. These features are all applied to the highest frame rate of 120p.
Whoa, 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 there it is.
Internal recording up to 120p in 4K and 240p in Full HD is realized.
So there's a 10% crop.
And the onboard slow and quick mode provides high quality but convenient in-camera processed slow motion recording and instant
definitely
playback
manageable.
up to 5x in 4K and 10x in Full HD. All the latest Sony's autofocus technology cultivated with Alpha has been transplanted and evolved in Alpha 7S Mark III. Autofocus in movies is available in every recording format and frame rate, including 120p, where precise autofocus is required. You will experience the new shooting style, operation, workflow, and visual expression, overturning the common sense of manual focus control, opening the age of autofocus in movie shooting. The camera includes Sony's industry-leading AI-based real-time IAF, which has been refined to perform 30% better.
Wow,
real-time
30%
tracking
better
is
insane.
Also possible with the touch of a finger.
Hey.
Autofocus performance of Alpha 7S Mark III
Touchscreen.
is not realized by the body itself. Lenses must equally respond as well. With over 50 native E-mount lenses, the Sony Alpha lens lineup is ready for the
y'all liking what y'all hear so far?
Autofocus and image
Y'all want me to shut up and let him
when
talk?
combined with the new camera. With all these advanced features combined together, the Alpha 7S Mark III will surely keep you inspired to create images like no other. This footage has been shot at 120p and edited to 5x slow motion. Note how every single frame is in focus, even with such a shallow depth of field, even at an amazing sensitivity. When shooting 120p, your shutter speed needs to be higher, meaning sensitivity becomes even more essential for high frame rate shooting. Again, the large pixel does matter. For professional works, post-production workflow is critical. The Alpha 7S Mark III offers a variety of features to support this. The Alpha 7S Mark III includes S-Log2 and S-Log3 gamma curves, and the S-Log3 achieves up to 15+ stop dynamic range with 10-bit depth, expandable to ISO 160.
That is awesome.
S-Log3 matching with professional camcorders in colors and tones has been improved for multiple camera operating scenes with Sony Cinema Camera Venice or professional camcorder FX9, for instance.
Oh, wow.
The Alpha 7S Mark III also allows
16-bit
unprocessed
RAW.
16-bit RAW output to an external device over HDMI with frame rate selectable up to 60p.
Wow.
A full-size HDMI Type A terminal provides a more secure connection with simple compatibility with other HDMI devices. The Alpha 7S Mark III adds XAVC HS format recording using HEVC or H.265 codec, which has approximately doubled compression efficiency. It has an option for the convenient and instant workflow onboard hybrid log gamma, where you will experience finer gradation and smooth highlight roll-off.
When I shot Sony, that's what log profile I used.
In addition, Creative Look. The camera features 10 types of in-camera presets, available for both stills and movies. This is helpful for quick delivery and saving you time without post-production. The whole system is redesigned for professional visual expression and operation. The Alpha 7S Mark III includes optical 5-axis image stabilization, which has been greatly enhanced with the new active mode dedicated to movie shooting, keeping 4K quality. It offers you very smooth and stable gimbal-like footage, especially when Sony's native wide-angle lenses are mounted. Please see this handheld footage stabilized only by in-camera active mode when walking straight. When shooting
Looks
4K,
really good.
the new image sensor and processing engine reduce rolling shutter 3 times more than the Alpha 7S Mark II. Please see the result of minimized rolling shutter effect. For high-quality expression, the Alpha 7S Mark III utilizes plenty of data, inevitably generating much heat. In order to minimize thermal limitation, effective heat dispensation measures have been newly developed, allowing for extended continuous 4K recording. For instance, the camera can shoot 4K 60p 10-bit 422 all-intra for over an hour until the battery ends. Additionally, the camera's multi-interface shoe supports digital audio interface for superb audio quality.
That
Audio
mic is
signal
amazing.
is
I had
digitized
that
in
when
the
I had the
microphone
Sony RF
and directly
It's
transferred to the
incredible.
camera in clean digital form without the need for external power supplies or connection cables. When the XLR K3M adapter is attached via MI shoe, this combination provides you a choice of capturing future-proofed 4-channel 24-bit recording in linear PCM audio internal of the camera. The new Alpha 7S Mark III features a vari-angle articulating monitor that rotates sideways and affords plenty of freedom for movie shooting. It can also be folded back in to protect itself when not in use. The monitor's touch operation capability also contributes to easy focus operations during movie shooting. You can also temporarily activate autofocus by the touch operation to override manual focus mode.
That's good. They got the
The
touchscreen
upgraded focus
finally,
function
and the
includes
flip-out screen.
customizable AF transition speed and subject shift sensitivity, which allows ideal rack focus expression even with autofocus. These settings are synchronized when using touch focus control as well. Widen your range of expression by leaving it to the camera. The camera has a completely redesigned menu system as well, which can be operated via the new touch screen. Parameters can be instantly selected by directly touching them on the display.
I finally
When
did
movie
that.
mode is selected,
Awesome.
the menu is changed to movie dedicated configuration. Also, settings such as exposure and focus mode are stored independently for the still and movie modes. The Alpha 7S Mark III is also designed for photography with superior low-light capability. The new camera features the world's largest and highest resolution EVF, a 9.44 million dot OLED display with 0.9 times magnification. The camera delivers low noise throughout the camera's amazing sensitivity with refined color science thanks to the new BIONZ XR image processing engine. The newest autofocus technology and algorithm are applied for still image shooting as well. 759 AF points and 92% area coverage with low light AF capability
Canon
as low
has
as
that one a little bit
EV-6.
on the. It has 100%
And 10
coverage.
frame per second continuous shooting works with AF and AE mechanically and electronically for up to 1,000 consecutive uncompressed RAWs.
Damn.
For stress-free rapid data recording, the Alpha 7S Mark III has dual slots, both of which supports the SDXC UHS-2 card, and the Alpha 7S Mark III also adopted the world's first CF Express Type A memory cards, developed for the next generation of cameras for high quality
big.
and
It
speed,
says for
where
4K
enormous
you
data
need
writing
those
is
cards.
necessary. For example, 4K 120p all-intra recording. Thanks to its compact size, no dedicated slots are necessary, meaning each card slot can accept both SD card and CF Express Type A.
That
The
rumor
new
was true. They
compact
did it.
CF Express Type A card offers 700 megabytes per second write, 800 megabytes per second read speed, and are available in 80 gigabytes and 160 gigabytes. Also, a new card reader for the CF Express Type A and SD card will be available. One mount promises many benefits. The new Alpha 7S Mark III is part of Sony's powerful E-mount system, which includes 57 lenses that are compatible across not only the Alpha series, but also with our professional camcorders,
Sony is killing it
whether
in
they
the
are
lens
full frame
department. So
or
much
Super
selection
35.
and
There is a
huge
lot more to
third-party support.
explain, but let us finish the presentation here. Please take a note on many other exciting enhancements and features as shown. Imagination in motion. Thank you for joining us.
Okay.
Good morning, and thanks for joining us today. I'm Christopher Robinson from alphauniverse.com and the Alpha Universe podcast. Now that we've seen the introduction of the A7S III, we'll be taking your questions with a series of live Q&As with Sony experts, as well as photographers and filmmakers who have had a chance to actually use the new camera. Before we get to our first Q&A with Chris Burkhardt and Sony's Mike Bubalo, let's have a look at some of what the creators did with the A7S III.
What is creativity to me?
I guess you could say it's my oxygen. It's how I breathe.
It's how I speak, it's how I communicate.
It's how I look at the world.
I don't think I'd be human without it.
Creativity is necessary. For me, it's therapeutic.
It's the difference between living and existing. Maybe now, more than ever, storytelling feels like it really means something.
There's a real chance for revolution, and I've used that word specifically.
As photographers, we design worlds and create these experiences for others to view through our work.
I pick up a tool, a camera, and that's my modality of creativity, but you can go out and you can express yourself any way you want. We all have a different thumbprint.
When I have a camera in my hand, it's when I feel most comfortable. When I'm out exploring, out shooting, that's when I feel most at peace.
Now the technology just keeps getting better and better and better.
The Alpha 7S changed my career. I mean, I could see in the dark, basically, and there's no other way to put it, right? A veil had been lifted.
It completely transformed what I could even imagine was possible.
It was just a huge deal back then, and it's still a big deal now, and for the S3 to come out is massive.
I think some people didn't actually think it would ever exist.
Yeah.
But if I know one thing about Sony, the Alpha 7S III is gonna be a complete game changer.
Come on, baby.
Woo! 120 frames per second at 4K. In the dark.
I feel like the things that your eyes are able to see with this camera, it's like you're in a completely different world.
Do you mind standing on the edge? This is mental, dude.
We're shooting at 20,000 ISO.
And it's perfectly clean.
The autofocus is by far superior.
The screen feels nice and solid.
Man, this flip screen is so nice.
Oh my God. How sick is that?
This is unreal.
Crazy.
I seriously want to go back to every place I've ever been and shoot it with this camera.
I just want to get out of the house. That looks clean.
I don't think I've ever seen anything like that.
All right, so we're going to take it from the top. Buckada, 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 chop.
When there is no income, when there is no job, when there is no project, like what does a camera mean? What does it do for you? It still gives you some sense of purpose.
Every once in a while, something comes around that changes the way we see the world.
It's one thing to have something that can shoot rad slow motion and low light, but to have it in a small package can help you tell more meaningful stories.
Some of the best shots of our lives right here, guys.
Isn't that the whole point of creativity, to share your stories, to make a connection?
This is why I love shooting. It brings people together on both sides of the camera.
And I would say that in many ways, that's what the world needs more of. It needs more of your perspective, your vision.
And when you find other people that share that vision, that's when you find your family.
Drop in the chat. Are you guys liking what you're seeing and hearing? Oh, the bit rates. It's 10 bit. Oh, their audio messed up again.
5 Q&As today, and before we get started with Chris Burkhardt and Mike Bubalo,
so it is
just a couple of
10 bit.
notes. Please enter your
422
questions on the alphauniverse.com
internal,
page and hit the
and
question
that's
box right there
through
and
all
submit.
frame
And if
rates,
you're watching us
or at
on
least all
Facebook,
4K frame
go
rates
ahead and
that
send your
I've
questions
seen.
there. We'll be monitoring both.
And then it
And Chris
has
Burkhardt and Mike Bubalo,
16-bit
thanks for joining us today.
external RAW,
Thanks for
which is
having me.
insane.
Chris, I'd like to start with you. We just saw some of what you were doing in that video. Tell me about how you were shooting with a new camera.
Did I answer your question?
Absolutely. So
I think they said there was 500 megabits per second.
I've always dreamt of going to, Wrangell St. Elias. It's larger than Switzerland and Yellowstone put together. And basically, for me, I focused on really two things. I wanted to focus on the slow motion video aspect by shooting from a plane. Actually, we flew over the Bagley ice field, and we were shooting 2 Piper Cubs, 2 small planes flying really fast, handheld in a small area. So that compactness was really crucial for what we were doing. And then I shot in some ice caves right at the base of Wrangell St. Elias. And if you're familiar with ice caves, it goes from being really bright and beautiful to being super dark. So those are really the 2 activities I focused on. And I really tried to push the limits of that camera. You know, I'm super familiar with the S2. And so this was kind of a real step up. I really wanted to see what it could do and really test its video capabilities.
And what did you think?
I mean, I was blown away. I mean, we spoke about this earlier, but there's something so special about when you're really in these moments where normally you'd need a tripod and you need a really patient subject, and you're like, okay, move slow. You know, I'm shooting, you know, a fifth of a second, but I was in this ice cave totally uninhibited, shooting, you know, ISO 8,000, 10,000, no quality difference, just beautiful grain-free images, allowing my subjects, my guides to move around really seamlessly. It was unreal. I mean, that was truly the significance. And a good camera, a great technology should allow you that freedom. It should afford you that ability to kind of work uninhibited and allow the creative process to just unfold. And so that was, for me, it was free, you know, and that's really why I think I lean towards that camera.
Thanks. And Mike, Chris was just talking about the dynamic range of the new camera and the high ISO capability. The previous generations of the A7S have been well known for their ISO capability. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty hard to dethrone the king of high ISO, but the Alpha 7S Mark II was the king of high ISO performance. It was the camera that's always been my camera of choice.
I think the A7 III
you can shoot
really pretty much tied it.
You can always shoot. And this camera takes it to another level. And it's not just about your high ISO performance,
as far as
it's about the
Mark
color
II goes,
reproduction and the detail that happens in those high ISOs. So now, you know, we've dethroned our own people in terms of the king of high ISO. And that on top of having over 15 stops dynamic range makes this camera have possibilities that we just have, that no one's ever had in this type of camera before. And it's pretty impressive and opens up a lot of creative opportunities for a lot of people.
And what is the ISO range on the new camera?
goes up to 409,600, which sounds crazy, which is the same maximum as it was on the Alpha 7S Mark II. But in my personal experience and some of the stuff that I've seen Chris shoot, I mean, it's usable in the 50,000, 100,000 range, and you can still create content at 400 and still be able to share it. It's really does. Like when
I would like to
really
see that actually be applied. Do y'all
create.
believe that we
Chris,
can
what were you shooting at?
shoot it 100,000
so
still use
what
it?
you just said is it's actually usable at those high ISO ranges. For me specifically, when a couple years ago I made a film about surfing under the northern lights, and we were shooting at ISO 30,000 and putting it on a big screen, a huge cinema screen, and we were able to get incredible results, and that blew my mind. That was truly what made this significant. So I just wanted to add there that it's not about how high the range goes, it's about the quality at those high ranges, and you're not losing tons of dynamic range by increasing that ISO. It's incredible.
Yeah, that's a really great point. It's all about the usability, right? You can pack specs into any device, but if it's not performing for you, if you just can't use it well, the specs don't mean a whole lot.
That's a shot at Canon right there. They just jabbed.
Mike, I wanted to ask you about
it's all about usability. You can put all the specs you want into it.
It's got the new BIONZ XR processor, which, how does that figure into the new camera? And tell me about that design.
So even though the Alpha 7S Mark III looks almost identical to the Alpha 9 Mark II and Alpha 7R Mark IV, it's completely new from the inside out. Everything on the camera is brand new, including that BIONZ XR processing engine. So it's not just a processor, it's actually multiple processors with multiple components, and it's 8 times faster than any processor we've put into an Alpha camera before. And it really is the brains of this camera.
8 times faster than any Alpha camera. I thought it was just the A7S II.
Twice the readout speed, 3 times better rolling shutter, process all that information, and 1,200 megabits per second inside the camera enables us to do all those things.
1,200 megabits per second, director. I think that's answering.
With the Alpha 7S Mark III that it's really going to be the foundation and the cornerstone to where we go in the future, not just for our stills cameras, but for also our video cameras, because it is such a beast in terms of how much processing power it has and what it can do.
And that processing power came into play for you, Chris, because you were saying that you were shooting, some pretty extreme video in the aerial footage and doing some slow-mo and stuff like that. Talk to me a little bit more about that shoot.
Yeah, so it's a really complicated scenario when you're in a tight space. I mean,
y'all liking what you're hearing?
The use case of the camera. So for me, we're in a plane, we have tiny bit of room, and we can't use something larger. We're really stuck using, the biggest bang for our buck, and that was the S3. And you're putting this camera out the window of the plane, shooting another plane flying at like 60 miles an hour, 100 miles an hour.
Really
and
beautiful
that was
shot.
Really crucial, is being able to have that functionality. You're not overheating. You're able to have really intuitive dial controls.
Another jab at Canon.
And I think the beauty here was the real kind of question.
You shouldn't be overheating in the Arctic anyways, or wherever the hell you are.
Slow motion, right? And I was blown away. I mean, it was incredible. It felt like we were shooting off of a gimbal, right, up in the air, shooting this other plane right below us. And that, for me, it's really about testing it in those real world scenarios. I don't want to advocate for a camera that a DP or a director couldn't get behind and say, I know I can nail this shot. And what it does is you realize it opens up a whole new world of what you can do, because you can literally see in the dark. I mean, that is the true game changer. And I mean, that tagline, it's real, it's raw, and that's what the camera really truly does for you. It opens up a world of possibilities where normally tripods are like a ball and chain you'd have over your back and you'd have to drag around. You don't need that.
Right. Again, it's about that usability, that performance, and being able to really put it to good use when you're out there in the field. And like you said, tripods, we all know we're supposed to use them, and we all hate using them, and we all leave them in the car, right?
we love them, and they have their place. But man, when you can move around with the simplicity of not having it, and knowing
that's true. I always leave my tripod in the car. Do y'all ever use tripods?
Bump that ISO up.
I'd like to use my tripod.
People are going to create footage that we've never seen before because of this camera.
Yeah. And you were mentioning just now when you were in the plane and you were shooting in some of that kind of those demanding conditions that the camera
my wife
did not
just woke
get
up
hot on you, didn't overheat
she's
on
walking around here.
No, I mean,
I should get her in front of the camera, but she's freaking out. She's like, oh no, I haven't put any makeup on.
What's the run time? How hot do these things get? obviously we're in Alaska, it's a cold environment, but inside these cockpits, it gets warm, right? And so we really wanted to test it by running it like all as far as we could push it. And yeah, there was 0 overheating issues, which was really awesome. And I think just the intuitiveness of the controls from a video perspective, obviously, and a stills has evolved a lot.
Mm-hmm. Mike, could you speak a little bit to the heating and how Sony has overcome overheating issues with the A7S III?
Absolutely. So it was
boom, boom.
Like, this camera was really purpose.
Another shot at Canon
for the professional videographer. We had that customer in mind, and then we built the perfect product for them. So obviously, being able to dissipate heat and heat management was one of our number one priorities.
They almost look like they're about to laugh.
We didn't want to compromise. So we have, from the inside out, this entirely new heat management system that incorporates much of the inside of the camera. And we didn't want to have to put in fans, because once you put in fans, then you lose dust and moisture resistance. You create noise, so you can't use onboard microphones. So we created this new heat management system that actually works with the materials on the camera and incorporates totally inside the camera to give us over hour-long recordings in 4K 60p all eye at huge bit rates until the battery runs out, and even longer run times when connected to USB power. So the possibilities are really endless. The chances of it overheating are pretty slim. So.
And actually, we got a question here that just got submitted, and a question for you, Chris, to talk a little bit more about the heating, a little clarification. So you were shooting for how long in the plane in those conditions?
Yeah, I mean, we were running this camera as long as humanly possible. 20-minute, 30-minute video clips. Obviously, and the key thing here is that when you're obviously in Alaska, again, it's a cold environment, but the sun is beating down in this tiny cockpit, and it gets really warm, actually, like surprisingly warm. It's like a sauna. And so yeah, we were filming.
They are really leaning in on this overheating issue.
So good for a certain period of time. So
man,
really,
not a good look, Canon.
On just being
I'm a
able
Canon
to
shooter, and that's not a good look.
Shoot normal footage, but slow motion, which was really our focus for that. Which I don't know if you're familiar with, but it really can tax a camera, right? That's kind of the beauty here, is that we were really putting that to the test. Big bank rolls, with the plane shooting straight down, shooting kind of over the pilot's shoulder and whatnot, and 0 issues. In fact, I was surprised and slightly concerned that the camera was going to be much larger because of the heating and cooling. I had heard, hey, this thing has
are y'all liking this
cool down capabilities. It's
what they're saying so far? Drop in the comments. Let me know. We got a few people watching.
Better, and I was shocked because it just fit in my hand, just like any other of the R4, R3 range.
Mm-hmm. And how long did you have the camera, actually, Chris?
I had it for longer than they probably wanted me to, and I tried to keep it after that. But I had it for about 2 weeks, and to be honest, there's this line in the video that's really funny. It's like, I want to go back to every place I've ever shot and shoot it with this, because it's so true. I mean, I'm thinking of like the Milky Way, and I'm thinking of Northern Lights. I'm thinking of all these scenarios where, for me, I love the idea of going back and creating a better image, a better result. And that was kind of like, obviously it was summertime. I couldn't go shoot a lot of these things I wanted to do. So I'm just dreaming up ideas of how I could take this thing and shoot it at ISO 16,000, which is, I believe that's like its native ISO range or something like that. I mean, it's incredible being able to just utilize this thing as a real tool in your toolkit.
Yeah, you talk about going back to places and sort of just like re-exploring them and seeing them with that new eye, knowing that there's different things that you can do now. That's really a powerful, kind of a message. That's a powerful ability, right? Is to be able to rethink all the places that you've seen one way and think about them a new way.
Also, it should be mentioned, this is something that people won't think about, but the screen, the way it articulates. So the screen folds out, kind of like the new vlogging camera, the Z1, whatever it's called. So that allows for maximum flexibility and creativity. Obviously, like if you're a filmmaker, you want to put the camera on the ground, you can look at the screen. If you want to have it above your head, all of a sudden you've got a 3-4, 4 foot like extension.
Absolutely.
Right? You can reach this thing
We've
way
been
up
asking
there.
for a flip screen forever. Glad they finally are listening.
Or in a creative environment where you want to put the lens right next to an ice cave or right outside the window of the plane. That screen articulating is huge. I mean, it sounds silly, but that's an absolute game changer and something that I requested. A lot of the other Sony Alpha professionals requested. So that was a really big help and support.
Yeah, and that screen, as you mentioned, is also a touch screen, so it's all touch capable or touch controllable. So you have even more versatility. It's not just about being able to get that screen out of the way and be able to see what you're doing.
About 4 or 5 years late, but hey, you're there.
Exactly.
So, Mike, can you talk a little bit more about that touch screen and how that's working?
Yeah, so there's an entirely, to Chris's point, having that variable screen is impressive because, like he said, small spaces, you can put it against the windshield of a car on a dashboard and be able to see what the camera's seeing and be able to do these things, and or put it on a video rig without having to and be able to see what the camera's seeing. And most importantly, sometimes when you're in those situations, you can't access the menu and change settings, but now you can customize one of the buttons on the outside of the camera on the top to access the menu, and now the entire menu is touchscreen capable, so you can be able to go through the menu.
Okay, so y'all liking what you're hearing them say?
From the touchscreen.
Drop in the
beyond that, I'm sure we've
in the comments here.
Chris,
chat a little bit.
People. Again, this is a product that we designed specifically for this market, and we've been working with thousands of photographers and videographers over these years, for the last 5 years, to create the best menu system. And now we have like a vertically driven.
It's a pretty impressive camera. I mean, I gotta say,
your subject on the left, the folders in the middle, and then what's within those folders on the right hand side.
They definitely gave you everything you could want for a video camera.
You can get through everything, and you can go through all those functions
from a purely
very
video
easily.
camera.
It's just very intuitive. The whole thing is just very efficient, so to speak.
Yeah, I wanted to just
less than really blow in expectations, which I'm not saying they're not posting, pushing the envelope.
Bit of a struggle for me with some of the older
because they have
the menus, obviously.
But at the same time, it just feels like they've
becomes overwhelming really quickly.
Perfected, at least from what they're saying, they've perfected.
So it takes a minute to kind of, if you're used to
they've
using
perfected
the R4
these,
or the S2, but the moment you dive in there, you're like,
specs.
oh my gosh. All the things I need, like video
might have been
settings,
stuff that we expected, but they actually perfected it.
That was huge, especially in really like crux situations where you need to switch something fast. You're going between shooting modes. You want to shoot in flat light. You want to, this and that. It's right in front of you, and that was a surprising change actually.
Yeah, and we're going to get a full tour of that menu system in a Q&A in just a bit here with another member from the Sony Pro support team.
Okay, cool. They're going to throw us
But Chris, I want to talk to you just a little bit more about that experience of being able to use that menu that way and how that was kind of freeing for you. I find that menus, they can be complicated. A lot of it is just kind of getting used to it. But this menu is more intuitive and has just been laid out in a totally different way and really reimagined.
Exactly. Yeah, so it's kind of funny when we dive in. This is the nerdy side of us coming out because we love this stuff, right? We love the things that save us seconds of time in those situations. That it's immense. It's really important, right? And being able to obviously switch between shooting modes, switch between frame rates, and just be able to obviously dial in a custom menu setting. As Mike mentioned, that was really easy. As were before, custom menus are kind of challenging, but having everything you want right there was great. I found, at least for me, the key thing is also that ability to put the camera like in front of a windshield and use the touch screen.
So I see some new people here.
Before it was like,
if you could throw that thumbs up,
and basically flip it around and
spark that algorithm,
and then push record and set it up, hoping you're getting the shot. This is a game changer. I mean, you can have the camera pointing directly down, pointing directly up from the ground, and dial in your menu settings right there. That's an incredible feature that I think shouldn't be understated.
Finally, touchscreen. That's huge. If you're a Sony shooter, that is huge.
This is like a really incredible feature, and it mostly just saves you time and energy. And again, for me, I'm not the tech savvy dude here. I'm all about experience, and when a camera can heighten that creative experience, it's freeing. It takes the shackles off and allows you to focus on, what do I want to create? What do I want to do? I want to get this POV shot of me and the pilot, or an ice cave image where I'm like, bringing the camera right along the wall of the ice cave. That's really special to me.
And talking about the ice caves, tell us a little bit more about that shoot. I'm really intrigued by that. I've never been up there to that part of Alaska.
Went to Canon.
Ice caves are a really special phenomenon, right?
From actually the R4, which was extremely
kind of early summer. because they
impressive
usually
camera,
shut
but
down.
the
But this
usability just
scenario
wasn't
was
there,
so unique, right?
especially for what I was
Being able to
doing, more
be
vlog
in a
and
situation
travel
where we had
videos.
an ice cave that was really dark, right? The deeper you go, the darker it gets, right?
But this
So we were
camera,
almost
you know, it looks like they
every
really
10 feet I
really
step back, I've got to bump
nailed
it up
it.
another like 200, 300 ISO. And we were in the very back of this thing, probably like 300, 400 feet back, right? There's a waterfall in the middle. I've got my guides moving around. They're going across this like kind of technical little traverse. And that was so unique because I didn't have to tell anybody, hey, slow down. Hey, do that. Like, just pause right there. I could just let people move around freely. And in the past, that, you know, shooting in ice caves or shooting in low light situations, you're shooting at like a second or a fifth of a second, depending on the amount of light in there. I mean, these are notoriously dark, right? But also notoriously beautiful. And what you find, to Mike's point, the dynamic range, right? Let's dive into that. What does that mean? It basically means the ability to kind of bring back that detail in the shadows and in the highlights. Talk about a harsh situation. Ice cave, you have sun coming in usually from one entrance, and the rest of it's dark or it's a saturated blue. So being able to bring back that detail, but also be able to have that contrast still play a part in the image was huge. I mean, this is a really special thing, right? Being able to kind of bring back some of that sun detail, some of that light hitting the water, but also have the colors, because we're trying to kind of reimagine and or recreate what we saw with our eye, and nothing will ever be as good as that. But in this situation, I mean, I had more visible light than I could see with my own eye. It was really special.
And so, Chris, you really did
More
use the
visible
camera in this
light
kind of
than he could
hybrid
see
way,
with
where
his
you were
eye.
shooting both stills, a lot of video, a lot of stills, doing that.
Yeah.
That's kind of how you just kind of go through life, yeah?
Yeah, and I mean, I think the key thing here is that I'm always looking for a camera that can do both and do both well. And I think that in some
I'm
ways,
skeptical
you
on the
always feel
picture
like, oh
side.
man, I'm using this great camera, but I'm compromising the high ISO capability. It's not the camera for nighttime. Like, I really wanted to test this from a stills perspective first and foremost. Does it have the quality that I can print images that I just printed my first image with the camera to test it, to see, because that's a huge part of my business. I don't want to recommend a camera to somebody that, you know, that I'm going to say, well, the R4 is way, way better. No, this thing holds its weight. I mean, it is incredible. And I would say in many ways, the ability to have incredible video and put it in that mode and then shoot in extremely low light. For me, most of what I'm shooting is in harsh conditions. It's in dark, it's in storms, it's in places where I don't
I mean, I
want to
can
be
see for a certain
inhibited by the
filmmaker
quality
or
of the
for certain
camera. And that was
photographers, that's good,
truly
but
kind of the situation here.
I don't
And
like
as I
the 12
mentioned before,
megapixels
sorry, I know I'm blabbering,
for
but the
photography.
S2, it
I
changed
just
my
don't.
career. I mean, it changed my life, truly. That camera allowed me to create images. I won an X
Do y'all
Games
think
gold
that
medal
12
with that
megapixels is
photograph
good enough
that I
for
shot at ISO
photography?
30,000. I mean, it was only because of that technology and hopefully a little creativity from my end that allowed me to do that. And so this camera, I'm blown away. I'm like trying to reimagine what I can do. It's getting all the creative juices churning again.
You know, talking about kind of that hybrid way of shooting, this camera has a brand new sensor. Mike, can you speak to a little bit more detail about the new sensor in the camera?
Absolutely, yeah. So there's about that sensor. So it is a brand new sensor from the ground up. It's back illuminated, meaning that, believe it or not, a lot of the sensors that are out there in the world are now, the electronics and the wiring are on top of the photosensitive material. They're in between those pixels. So we just moved them underneath. So now not only do we have 12 megapixels, which gives us huge pixels, but we have even larger photo sites because those electronics are no longer in front, they're on the back. So the nerdy stuff aside, it gives us the ability to get the super high ISO performance, the over 15 stops dynamic range. But on top of that, we wanted this sensor, again, was purpose built for the best 4K image quality. It's purpose built to give you the best possible 4K you could possibly get, because we have full pixel readout in every single mode, from 30p, 24p, all the way up to 120p. There's no line skipping, no pixel binning. It's full pixel readout all the time. And there's no compromise. So there's no asterisks, so to speak, when you're talking about the 4K image quality on this camera. I don't know if I'm overstepping and getting into it early, but the autofocus of the sensor, the phase detection autofocusing system in this camera really separates itself from the Alpha 7S Mark II and brings us into a realm now of the autofocusing speed of the Alpha 9 Mark II or the Alpha 7R Mark IV. And like Chris, for you said, like in X Games now, you can not only shoot at 50,000, 100,000 ISO, but you're going to be able to have the subject tracking and the low light focusing like no camera's ever done before. So.
Well, and it's not so much even that it's lightning fast. It's super fast, but it's smooth. And that's the thing is it's a usable autofocus. That's the difference, right? I've seen cameras where it's like jumping back and forth, and
they're coming in hot.
The subject
gotta give it to Sony.
Is incredible. Like the contrast
and I like
can isolate is
I
amazing.
love Sony. I mean, I went
really
with Sony for my
because we traditionally
my
we're
first
always
big camera.
I'm going to shoot manual focus. I'm going to be
like
safe here and just do it
camera,
myself. But being able to rely on
Sony is where I was going to go,
really
and
amazing,
I went there, and I had the R4. It was incredible.
Almost dark conditions. The camera
but for me, it just didn't work with my workflow.
Yeah,
so I switched over to Canon, even though it was an inferior camera.
It's no longer having to manipulate the hardware to get the shot that you want.
Man,
you can actually let the hardware do its job, and then you can be more creative and more free to do what you want. Like you said, that freeing feeling is only capable because the hardware does its job, and you don't have to worry about it. So,
this is why that relationship, I think, within the Sony team is so great. I mean, to be honest and just to be totally transparent, like being able to give feedback to like the designers and the engineers and then see it come to life. I've never worked.
If you're in the comments, drop in here. Give me some of your opinions.
You're seeing
are y'all liking what you're hearing from this guy?
And what, like you said, Mike, it really frees you as a creative and allows you to kind of go out and be like, okay, now I can focus on my vision and not trying to understand this menu and trying to use hacks to kind of like, oh, I got to use this recorder or this thing to like get the most out of it. That's a really unique thing.
Yeah. And Chris, we got a question on Facebook. Not on Facebook. We got a question submitted to Alpha Universe for you, asking about how you use autofocus and whether you use it for both stills and video.
That's a great question. So typically for me, I'm a single shot autofocus guy when it comes to stills. Reason being, I mean, I love the continuous. I like all those things, but I'm usually like thinking of where my shot is, my subject is going to be, pre-focusing, and then I'm just firing through that sequence or that experience, right? Mainly because I think that a lot of times if you're shooting continuous, you're shooting like a race car track, or the car's coming towards you, or wild animals. For me, I'm usually in kind of a slightly, I guess you could say, scenario where I kind of know what's going to happen. I'm kind of premeditating this action. So I really like that single shot. And then when it comes to video, oftentimes it depends on the shot, right? If it's a static shot and someone's moving through the scene, I'm just pre-focusing. But when we're moving around, say for example, one of my favorite shots that we got, and I'm working on an edit right now from my trip, but we're kind of racking focus along this ice cave wall, and we're letting it happen with the autofocus, like picking our spot and moving. And I mean, you're talking really shallow depth of field, beautiful ice patterns kind of like coming forth in front of your eyes as you move back and forth. And I was really cool because in the past you'd have to like, do this manually yourself. And now you're able to just like let the camera do its thing. That was really unique. So it oscillates, to answer the question. It really oscillates between both of them, depending on the situation and the time. But the point is that knowing that you can use both is crucial, right? Knowing that you can rely upon the autofocus is important. And I would say, to all the video people out there, like autofocus is kind of like this taboo word. We don't really say it much because people are like, oh yeah, whatever. Like, I'm not going to use that. Like, right. It's all about like, manually racking focus, but being able to have the option is really special, especially when you can barely see with your own eyes. And I truly mean that. Like, the camera sees way more than you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up because, like you said, videographers, as soon as you say autofocus, they're like, whoa, autofocus. Like, but it's really true autofocus that you can use. And I know you didn't do a ton of portraiture in your video, but being able to have pupil autofocus while you're moving, while your subject's moving, and have it track the pupil of your eye at 1.8,
right,
is
and I've used
something
that
you just can't do. Yeah,
totally. And I've used that feature on other cameras, and it's so powerful too. Locking focus and then allowing you to kind of move with your subject is special.
It's ridiculous.
We got a question actually related to what you were just saying about external recorders, asking about the bit rate of the camera. And Mike, maybe you can answer this and clarify it a little bit. So talk to me about the bit rate and
here we go.
What it records internally and what you have to do externally.
Nation.
Yep. So
Love
internally, the camera is 10-bit 422. The maximum is 10-bit 422, all eye, and that's in all shooting modes. That's from 4K 24 all the way up to 4K 120p. and full HD at 240 frames. So it's 10-bit, 422 all the way through, and all eye available in all shooting modes. But the biggest thing with this camera, not the biggest thing, one of the huge things in this camera is that you can do 16-bit RAW output at 4K 60p, which is almost never been done before. It's never been done before on a camera
going.
like this,
Appreciate
that's for
it.
sure. So it's usually reserved for very high-end cinema cameras and production cameras. So to be able to do full 16-bit RAW output at 4K 60p is massive. And again, to Chris's point before, to keep the size of the camera the same as what we've had before, with the heatsink, with 16-bit output, with all these features, is I sometimes am in awe of what the technicians and the engineers have been able to do.
Yeah, I mean, I keep coming back to that heatsink because you know, there's just an awful lot of technology, a lot of speed built into this. You know, the new sensor, the new processor, all of it, and yet not to be overheating is is really significant. I mean, that's without having to have a fan or anything else in the camera.
Yeah, that's why I've always said, like, I've probably gotten the question, where's the Alpha 7S Mark III every day for the last 5 years? And my answer's always been, we don't have the technology yet for it. Like, trust me, we're making the best product for you. We just we just literally couldn't invent the technology yet. And now we have, between the BIONZ XR, between the new sensor, and you're welcome. So,
yeah. and it's funny because it's like people think, you know, like, oh, why is this camera taking so long to come out? We're like,
they are leaning in hard with that.
I've had people knocking on my door asking me, oh my
with
gosh,
that
when is this
no
camera
heating
coming out? And I'm
issue,
like,
which is, I mean, it's a big deal. I mean,
Sony
I gotta say, I gotta hand it to them. It sounds like they really
have known about it for a couple months now, and
they've perfected,
I mean, getting it in my hands and testing it.
You know what they're doing here.
Exceeded my expectations.
I think that's actually a great spot to leave it for today. I want to thank both of you for being our guests today. Chris Burkhardt, thanks for joining us from afar.
Hey guys, drop in the chat, talk a little bit.
We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back.
I'm at 94 subscribers.
Deep dive into the menu system with Sony Pro
Can we
support.
get a 95?
Thanks very much, guys.
Can we do that?
Guys. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, cheers, Mike.
Okay. Well, that is the live stream right there. Oh. So no, they are going to be having some more here come up. But yeah, we have some time. Let's chat a little bit. They're going to be talking about, I think they're talking with the touchscreen guy. Talking about the new interface, about the new menu system. What are we thinking? What is the consensus about this camera? Has your expectations been exceeded? I mean, I gotta say, I'm impressed. If I was jumping into the game right now, and I was having to choose between the Canon and the Sony, I mean, I might would go with this Sony. I did not see price, but I think the price has been announced. I can go look that up shortly. I'm going to go over here, see if I can find the price on BH. They didn't say anything about the release date or the price. Ah, here it goes. Pre-order. So it's $3,500. There it goes.
And welcome back, and thanks again for joining us today. I'm Christopher Robinson from alphauniverse.com and the Alpha Universe podcast, and I'm joined by
it's
Sony Pro Supports, Van
September 24th,
so on the live cast
about
today.
2 months, about 2 months away.
Before we get started, I just
He's
want to remind
echoing, not
everybody
me.
that this is a live Q&A. If you're joining us on alphauniverse.com, you can feel free to submit a question on the page there. If you're joining us on YouTube or Facebook, go ahead and submit questions. We are monitoring those. And Van, I'd like to really just dive in.
3,500. Do y'all think that's a good price? I mean, that's some.
Perhaps you can give us
I mean, it's
a look,
400 cheaper than the R5 here. He is echoing bad. It's not me.
You can see it looks very similar to the Alpha 7R Mark IV.
It is not me. It is him. Believe me. My laptop technology is awesome.
Real quick, I'm going to turn the
But
camera
seriously, it's
to the
not
side
me.
here.
Oh, there he goes.
There's
He's
a new
stopping.
door mechanism, so a lot of people, they liked having that extra lock there. So you're going to basically pull down, slide back, and it flips open. So you've got dual card slots here. Again, both can accommodate an SD card, UHS up to UHS Phase 2, or the new CF Express Type A cards. So that just clicks in like that. It's the same Z battery. There is a new cable lock on the side here, which I've got plugged in. So I'm supplying some additional power with a USB-C cable here, and I've got a full-size HDMI plugged in so we can see kind of the internals of the camera. But real quickly, I do want to point out, there are a couple of jacks right here, which I can still close if I want to. There's a microphone jack up on the top and a headphone jack here, so you can monitor your audio. Down at the bottom is the micro USB or multi-port, so that's still there as well. And other than that, it looks very similar. Again, whoops.
Whoa!
Don't drop it.
It's a good thing I've got a good tripod here. So the Alpha 7R Mark IV and the Alpha 9 Mark II. So in terms of the ergonomics, the grip, and the feel of it, so very similar there. Something that I will point out that I don't know that everybody picked up on is here in the iCup, the viewfinder has we've repositioned the sensor here. So whenever you have your face up to it, it seems to be a little more flush. If you look at the previous iCups, the sensor for the auto switching for the EVF was up at the top and it was a little kind of indented. So occasionally you would get some dust.
What are y'all thinking about this?
Dirt inside there, and it would make the transition between the viewfinder and the monitor sometimes kind of bug out.
I am at 94 subscribers. If you guys like vlogs, travel, and some camera stuff, get me up to 95 at least. Come on, 94. I can't end on 94.
Or in an unintended operation, so that's really good to see.
But more important, just let's chat. Let's talk a little bit. What are y'all liking about this?
Show that the product designers have really been kind of taking the feedback and implementing it to the best of their ability.
It looks fatter to me. Looks bigger.
You guys ready to get to good?
Yeah, since you got the camera right there, let's. I know everyone wants to see these new menus we've been talking about, so let's dive in.
And I just want to put a disclaimer out there that all the friends and photographers that have been hitting me up, I really have not had this camera very long, so don't hold me okay, so let's go to the internals of the camera here. So I've got a little setup here. I'm gonna kind of level it out. So first and foremost, this is kind of the standard view.
Are y'all liking what you're seeing here?
Display button, I can kind of cycle through these different overlays, and this is kind of the all info kind of overlay. So you've got very familiar at the bottom. You've got the exposure settings up and down the right side and the left side. A lot of those things kind of stayed the same. Something that gets me really excited is up at the top. You can see I'm already set to XAVCS 4K.
That dual redundancy, that dual card slot, that's big because apparently Canon does not record video to both cards, which is huge disappointer, at least to me, because I want to be able to feel comfortable to shoot big events, and I don't want to lose any of my data.
It's the biggest gripe that I hear from customers a lot of times. So when I hit the menu button, it takes me into here. And while I'm doing this screen sharing, I'm unable to use the touchscreen to navigate the menu, so just kind of heads up. But I can switch to the other view in a second and kind of show you. But this is it. So as Mike and Chris Burkhardt had said in the segment previous, it's more columnar. It's basically
columnar.
Yeah, I don't know what the term would be. But it's more laid out kind of vertically.
There's the new interface. Y'all liking this interface?
So you got the tabs across the left side of the frame. Here we've got shooting tab, the exposure and color tab, autofocus or focus tab.
very
playback,
80s retro with the
network,
colors.
and,
But I mean,
setup. And one of the things
they
that
needed a
we've done is
big
we've really
menu overhaul.
reorganized a lot of things so that it seems more natural to get to what you're looking for. So for instance, I'm on movie mode on the mode dial on top. And so the first thing when I go into image quality here, this page is movie quality settings. So I can go in here to file format, and here are all the new file formats that are available. XAVCS 4K, that's been on previous models. There are some new formats here, so XAVC HS 4K, and then of course XAVCS I, which are the all intra modes here, so 4K and HD versions.
Okay.
So the newest one that probably customers are going to be really excited about is this XAVC HS 4K. So when I select that, you do get a little message saying, hey, just be warned, you have to have a corresponding playback environment to be able to watch this video. So hopefully you know what you're doing, and you can edit it and package that and deliver it as you need. So
there's that
when
10
I go
bit.
to movie settings now, I've got the ability to shoot 4K at up to 120 frames per second.
120 right there.
So which is pretty awesome. Again, there's the warning. Not every PC or Blu-ray player.
And that is a big thing. The R5, apparently the 120 on it, not that great as far as video quality.
Is the record setting.
But
so here you get to select.
So we'll see what this happens.
So you've got up to 280 megabits with 422 color subsampling and 10-bit color. That's available here, and these options will change depending on the file formats that you're using as well. So, for instance, if I back up and I go to maybe the all intra 4K, I think a lot of people are probably interested in understanding what's available here. So
600 megabytes per second
capability, up to 60 frames.
Okay.
And of course, up to 600 megabits internal. Now, that's the only option here, so it's grayed out. And when I try to select it, it says, hey, this is the only option, basically. So you can't change that.
So, I mean, that's big.
4K,
not as big as I was thinking.
It's going to be what it is.
Van, while we're talking about these 4K
if you think about
settings, we got a question in from YouTube
4K
asking about
30
when recording in 4K, does the screen black out if
200
you're using an external
megabytes
monitor?
or 100 megabytes per second?
So it does not.
I mean, it's still big.
So that was something that we actually got a lot of feedback about.
But now 4K 60.
Monitor, you can actually
I guess it's 3 times as much information as you would have usually had.
External recorder questions, you're going to be spending a lot more time down here in the setup tab, which is where you would find typically your HDMI settings and that type of thing. So
where y'all at in this? Drop in the comments.
Kind of
let me
related
know.
to that, we got
Chat a little
another
bit.
question in from YouTube asking about the CF Express media and what it will be used for. Just thinking about that related to where you would go external versus what you would do internal.
Yeah, so again, we didn't want to compromise with regards to, the capabilities of the camera or anything like that. So you can actually do quite a bit internal. Almost all of the record modes that are available, you can shoot internally with the CF Express card, which is here on the left side. This is a standard SD card here, so you can kind of see the size difference here. But depending on that card, you should be able to shoot everything. The only time that you would want to shoot to an HDMI external recorder at this point is if you need that 16-bit RAW, which is massive.
He said at this point,
gotcha. I interrupted you.
I'm wondering if they're going to add RAW capabilities internally in the future, maybe via firmware. That's possible. Apparently with this, I think that's possible. Maybe 4K
then of course you can
RAW, 30
record media and
internal. That'd be awesome.
All the resolutions. Here's the RAW settings here. I'm not connected to a 4K switch. So unfortunately, I can't stream 4K out to my HDMI right now, but that's something that you can test out in the field at some point whenever the product is available. But yeah, so the other thing I want to show is up here at the top, we've moved the My Menu option to the very top. So it's much faster to get there. Of course, you can actually go in and set up the My Menu so that it shows up first. when you hit the menu button on the back of the camera. And this is really nice because this is fully customizable. I put in a few options here: peaking display, format the cards, record media settings. You know, just things
Joseph,
that are a little more
yes,
kind of
this is amazing. I'm right
access.
there with you.
And so, you know,
I'm impressed, Sony. You did it. You did good. You did good, kid.
If you are getting to this point where you want this to be an extension
Appreciate you chatting.
you know, your thought process.
Anybody else in the chat?
We don't want
Let's
to limit
talk.
You to that, to how we've organized it, so you can actually organize it yourself. I imagine, you know, the way I describe this to a lot of my customers is I say, you know, imagine if you got in a rental car and you could personally move the windshield wipers and the hazard switch and all the things around so that you could access them when you wanted to. It's kind of that kind of concept. So we're building products that are really meant for
I gotta say, at the R5 event, there was quite a bit more people here. So I don't know if it's related to me covering more Canon stuff,
you know, oh, I wish this
or
was,
if it is related to
you know, some of these features are kind of on
not as much
different tab
interest,
than I imagined
which
they
I
would
would be surprised.
So here, you know, we've got a lot of these, a lot of the feedback from those customers, and we
If you're
reorganized
in
a
the
lot
chat,
of that. So, you know, for
and
instance,
have you been here? Y'all impressed
you'll
with
also
what you're
see,
seeing so far?
you know,
What y'all have
the
seen?
icons change a little bit too. So over on the left side of the camera menu, you see there's a little film strip beneath the camera shooting tab icon and the exposure icon and the autofocus manual focus icon. So if I switch the dial to still photography mode, and then I go back into the main menu, there you see it switches to stills. And up here
This
under
menu
image
is
quality,
it's good.
you know, that
I mean, it's
menu
better than
page has
for sure. It's
changed.
better than what it was.
So it
Still
makes,
looks a little
you know, you
cluttered to
still have
me, but
access to,
I mean, having
you know,
just a
movie
touch
settings down
bar
here
is
if
pretty
you want to.
awesome.
But now the things that you use in that mode bubble kind of up to the top.
So it's kind of,
You
it's
need
almost
4
like
of
it's dynamically adjusting for you
153
as you
just
move
off of
through.
one menu. That's
Exactly, yeah.
that's a lot. Which,
it
I mean,
just
they
makes
have a
more
lot of
sense. So you
options.
can actually,
They're very customizable.
you know, if I'm looking
Some
for,
people like that. Some people don't.
you know, let's see here, image stabilization settings, you know, right here, zoom. This is for clear image zoom or optical zoom, shooting display, all this good stuff. So, let's say I'm in movie mode, and I want to bring up, you know, picture profiles. So I can actually go into my settings here.
Is the audio good? Can y'all hear him very well and hear me as well?
Under, here we go, color tone, sorry. Here's a picture profile. And so I can go in and I can adjust, you know, if I want to shoot S-Log 3, S-Log 2, they're going to be all here. So these picture profiles haven't changed. They're all still here. They're the same as they were in some of the previous alpha bodies that we've had. PP10 is the newest, which has HLG or hybrid log gamma, kind of an instant HDR. So,
you know, one thing,
Van, we got a question that came in about from a live shooter, asking about HDMI resolutions for output. What are the HDMI resolutions for a live shooter?
Yeah, so if you're outputting via HDMI, let's just go right into the menu.
Okay, so one thing that I would be interested, one thing I love about Canon is on their C-Log, they put a slight
auto is going to sense, of course,
preset on it, or a LUT that's slightly already baked in on their C-Log.
And for the frame rates?
So it's not super dull, and you're not just guessing what things can look like. And I really wish Sony would have implemented something like that.
4K 120p, 4K 60, 4K.
But I mean, gosh, this is an incredible camera.
And we got a question in from YouTube about the excuse me, about the frame rates, asking if the sensor is cropped for 120 240p modes.
10%.
It is not. The nice thing is, again, you know, we kind of talk about the uncompromising design that we've done.
It's cropped 10%. They said that earlier.
A7S Mark III is able to shoot full sensor width, and you know, actually this comes up from time to time where customers, kind of say, well, why is it a 12 megapixel sensor? And it's on purpose. If you're shooting with, the sensor itself is a 4:3 aspect ratio, and if you're shooting 16:9 aspect ratio, you're going to get kind of the top and the bottom kind of cropped off a little bit. And there's actually about 2 megapixels on top and 2 megapixels on bottom that aren't being used if you're using this full sensor width. That being said, when you shoot 4K, it's actually in QFHD 16:9 aspect ratio. You're actually getting a 1:1 pixel ratio for your video footage. So exactly 8.3 megapixels.
4K 120 was cropped 10%, and he's not saying it is, but
okay, and
that's what they said in the past.
Can you back out and show us how you navigate the menus using the
That's
touch
what
screen?
the main video said, so I'm a little bit confused by that.
So I can see on the back of the screen here. And yeah, so you can tap.
Uh-oh.
You know what? First thing you need to do is turn on the touchscreen.
Okay. Scared me, bud.
So I'm going to come here, and I can just tap here.
Okay, good.
Scroll up and down.
Looking sharp. Hoping this touchscreen works out. Come on, guys. There it goes. Can we get an amen for a touchscreen on a Sony?
Keys here around the jog wheel. I can use the multi-selector here as well. And again, the nice thing is, if I'm staying behind the camera, this is all nice. I can tab between the different pages here. But if I'm standing in front of the camera, I'll need to flip this screen out so that I can see it, and then I can still use the touch panel to adjust that.
And as we're doing this kind of a virtual walk around, we got a question regarding that flip screen and the menu. Is it possible to turn the menu around, or rather to turn the flip screen around in a protection mode?
Yep, so it'll flip out, rotates, and then of course can close up, so you can prevent some accidental knocks and dings to that LCD screen as well.
And we also got another question from Facebook while we're looking at the outside of the camera. And this is a little bit related, I think, to the questions we were getting regarding the heat sink in the previous segment. Is the body weather sealed?
Yeah, so the body is weather sealed, and one of the things that I noticed with especially the doors is,
I mean, this is I like this format of what they're doing, answering questions right here. This is huge. It's kind of
they are to press in and pull open. So
kind of makes it feel like you're part of the true press conference.
How the
let average people chat
but,
about it.
It looks and feels much more robust than previous models, of course. So pretty confident in that. It's going to be really good.
While we're looking at those connectors right there, this camera has full HDMI connector. Is that correct?
Yep. So I'm using a full HDMI cable here, and actually, what I'll do is I'll take off this cable string relief here, so you can kind of see a little bit more. So the another thing that I noticed, and I'm not sure if this is final, is these little anchors here for the strap. They typically would kind of flip around, but and make noise when it clangs against the body of the camera. So hopefully they continue to use these anchor clips, because if you're going to be using this on a gimbal or something, you don't have to take the time to try to take these little anchors off. They'll be nice and noise free. So
that's good.
You can
I hated
it
that.
takes a little bit of force, but you've got some really.
I don't even
doors
use
there,
the anchors
really
on my
deep
cameras just because of that situation.
Really, really good. So yeah, full-size HDMI on the front here. So you'll notice this is typically where you would see a PC sync port for a flash, maybe an Ethernet jack if you're looking at the Alpha Memo 2. That type of
There's
thing.
always room for improvements here. I mean, I'm liking this setup here.
For movie making, so a full-size HDMI jack there into that door.
I know that was a really highly requested item. For anybody who's monkeyed with the smaller connectors, having a full size is just such a nice feature, nice attention to detail.
Yeah, that is big. Canon went even smaller with the micro HDMI port, which is awful. But I mean, these are both very impressive cameras. Are you guys liking what Sony's presenting here? Y'all Sony shooters already? I was a Sony shooter, and I love Sony. I personally, right now, I'm with Canon, but if I was coming in from the beginning, I don't know if I would be with Canon. I might would be picking this camera.
other accessories like.
But do you think this is exceeding expectations?
And the nice thing about Sony microphones is that the camera body itself will power the microphone. So if you've ever used a third-party mic,
do you think this is surpassing what Canon's got going on? Because this is competing directly with the R5. This is $3,500.
Going into an interview or going to a situation where you're trying to record audio, and if that light turns off and you don't see it, you know, half of your movie is basically going to be no audio. You know, so nice thing about this is, again, the additional connectors.
I see a few people watching. If you could throw a thumbs up and chat, that'd be 100% excellent.
Audio pass-through. So for accessories like
and very helpful.
The XLR K3M, our new XLR adapter, that has a digital mode, so you can actually have less interference happening when the signal is getting from the microphone down into the file.
Van, we got a question from Facebook asking about the record button. Is it a dedicated record button?
Yes.
So you can customize it, just like a lot of Sony, a lot of the buttons on our Sony bodies. You can customize a lot of these for your own layout. Let me pop this strainer leaf back on. So it's kind of a different shape, you know. So you kind of straddle the doors here between these two pieces, and then hold it kind of on there. Press in the little plunger and turn to kind of lock it in. And I'm going to plug back in my additional power source so that the battery doesn't run out. And the nice thing is, you know, I'm actually using a MacBook Pro charger to offer power delivery into the camera. So, you know, in previous models, if you used an external battery supply, it would run out, and it would still draw a little bit of battery from the internal battery, or a little bit of electricity from the internal battery. So, you know, eventually the camera would just turn off. Here, in theory, I haven't tested it out myself yet, but you could, you know, go as long as you needed. So, but yeah, so let's.
And is that battery? I'm sorry, is that battery the Z battery, or is it a new battery for this camera?
So it is a Z battery. It's the same, yeah, same as previous models. So, and this will also be compatible with the VGC 4EM vertical grip. So you can have dual battery capacity, same grip you would purchase for the Alpha 9 Mark II or the Alpha 7R Mark IV. So let me switch back to the inside of the camera.
It's a hot camera. Tony's coming in hot, guys.
About, the dedicated
and girls. I don't know who's in the chat.
So the nice thing is you can go in and you can customize pretty much, you know, all the buttons on the back, and definitely this is one of the nice things about the Sony system, is just being able to have that capability. Because again, just like the My Menu, we may not put things where you want them, and so to limit you to that, you know, is not what we're trying to do.
Drop in the comments, let me know, or drop in the chat. Are y'all impressed with what you're seeing here?
Customize. And then here
not with me, but with the camera.
Movie custom key settings, and you'll notice again a new menu here. By default, you know, it's just going to follow what
this is coming out the 24th of September.
But I really like how, again,
and it's $5 million. No, it's $3,500.
Makes it just a little easier to kind of see. And then, of course, the corresponding numbers on the left side are highlighted on the right side on the diagram. So if I wanted to go in and customize that record button that's up on top, I just go here to the top.
If you're here and you can't chat, maybe you're just listening. If you could drop a like, that would be excellent. Bring this thing.
And that's where
it helps get this more traction and more people.
C1 is still white balance. It's just the C1 button has moved. But if you want to put it back because you're using, you know, maybe the Alpha 7R Mark IV and
I gotta say,
Alpha 7S Mark III, you don't want to
nothing to me is like screaming just. Oh my gosh, it's mind-blowing necessarily. I guess,
we were
especially after we
about
had the R5
about the weather sealing
announcement.
A question about the
but it looks like everything they're doing
and overheating and everything, which
is
not
doing
a problem with this camera.
well.
But can you talk a little bit about
doing great.
How that heat sink does not affect the weather sealing?
So the heat sink is internal. So, you know, if you look at some of the pro cams that we have, you know, because of the way that the processor is set up, and it generates quite a bit of heat. They've installed, you know, active cooling systems. In an active cooling system, you actually have to have a mechanism to move air around and dissipate the heat. So that usually means you're going to have a fan, and also you're going to have vents. So you know, it's really important that we kept the weather sealing as good as possible on this camera. So you know, the designers went in and put in a really amazing passive system that's completely sealed. So you're able to dissipate heat throughout the entire
They're
body.
saying 4K 60, no record limits, or basically, you know, an hour.
For debris or for moisture, dust.
Pretty incredible.
So
4K 60, no real overheating.
To help move air out, but it's using a combination of designs and materials and things to.
It's an impressive camera. It really is, and.
Dan, we got a question
I mean,
about
they're really throwing a lot of
IBIS in
those
the
jabs
camera.
at Canon
First of all,
for
can you
overheating,
describe or explain the
which
IBIS
is,
modes that the camera has,
you
and
know,
whether
it's a
it will
valid
help
complaint.
with third-party
It's
lenses
definitely
with
a
adapters?
benefit that Sony has right now.
Yeah, so the
of
in-body
course,
image stabilization,
of course, you lean on
which
it.
we call steady shot. Let me switch back over to, yeah. So the in-body image stabilization that we call steady shot does work in conjunction with lenses, and you know, we can't guarantee the operation of a third-party lens and third-party accessories, but of course, if you're adapting, you know, Sony alpha mount, A mount lenses to the E mount here on this camera, you can have both the optical stabilization as well as the in-body stabilization kind of work conjunctively.
I wonder if the Tamron lenses will be working with it. Those Tamron lenses are a hell of a deal.
So of course,
well, I guess
the 5 axes that you normally
they have
get is,
they might not
course,
have
the,
stabilization anyway.
pitch just like this, and a
Can't
yaw,
remember.
and then of course X, Y, which I can't really show you here, but basically shifting up and down, left and right on the same focal plane. And then of course the rotational, of course, you know, by pressing the shutter button, you do have some sort of rotational motion that's going to be introduced. And so 5-axis stabilization.
If y'all want to drop in the comments and give me y'all's thoughts on the camera.
Now we've introduced a new mode to our steady shot, which is the active mode. So active mode, that's the only time that you will see a slight kind of crop in. And it's very slight, very minimal. I think it's about 10% of the frame, so very small amount. But what it's doing is it's using the gyroscopes inside to map out the type of motion that's happening, and then actually apply a lot more advanced kind of image stabilization. And you know, you'll see some YouTube videos, I'm sure, later on, kind of demonstrating those modes. It's amazing, and it's especially with the size of the sensor that we're talking about. Sony's really outdone themselves in terms of all the things that they've been able to pack into this little camera body.
Then we got a question. What is the highest all-eye resolution and frame rate internally?
Yeah, so again, let's switch to the inside of the camera and pull up the main menu. If I go up to the shooting tab and I go over to image quality, this is XADCS all intra 4K.
Okay.
And I go to movie settings. You've got 24p, 30p, and 60p. So 24p, and again, in the all intra modes, you don't really get the option to change the bit rate. There's no lower options. It's basically kind of pedal to the floor. You know, you're going to get the highest bit rate.
So yeah, it's 120, but in the all ultra, which is
240 megabits.
It's a huge file size. You can only do 4K 60.
300 megabits.
4K 60 only.
And then 600 megabits at 60 frames per second.
It's impressive. It's an impressive
Gotcha.
camera.
And from Facebook, we got a question. Does the camera work with the new Commander remote?
Yes. So let's see. So I believe they're talking about the Bluetooth remote. There's a Bluetooth remote that we have. It does have built-in Bluetooth. Let's go down to the network tab. And you do have the ability to pair
jump in the chat.
Bluetooth remote. It does have.
If you can't jump in the chat, I understand that.
Kind of a remote that
Sorry, I'm not trying to rap. But if you can't jump in the chat, I really understand. Some of you guys are just listening, but if you can throw up a like, that would be excellent. It pushes us out to more people.
Images. You can also use that during shooting mode to change some settings and to start stop record and to monitor your video as well.
So
Dan,
far,
we only got just a couple minutes left in this segment. I just want to ask you about the color science in the camera.
It says,
where did
you know, 4K,
tell me about the color science in the A7S III.
4K 120, 4K 60,
yeah, so
no overheating.
You know, it's been
raw,
a long time coming.
I mean, a lot of the specs had leaked, but I mean, it looks like it's impressive.
And we've learned quite a bit since that time. And what especially is that we've learned is what customers want. And the color science, of course, is one of those things that has kind of been very subjective to a lot of folks. But you know, the warmer kind of skin tones seems to be a popular kind of ask. And so one of the things that we've done is, you know, since that last 5 years, we've introduced many different cameras like the Venice, the FS7 Mark II, the FS5 Mark II, and the FX9, which all have new color science. Let me switch back over to here. Yeah, they all have new color science, and you know, we've gotten a lot of feedback around that, and customers are loving it. So that's, you know, based off of that, we do work.
Yeah, the color science is a big deal.
Development partners within the company, and we
so
share
Sony color science have kind of always been lacking, or at least, you know, in a lot of people's opinion, it didn't match the Panasonics or the Canon or the Nikon or the Fuji.
And run those together. So
one thing that Sony was doing excellent was they were really being true to life. But kind of like what he just said, it was more about what the customers wanted than just necessarily being true to life. You wanted to be flattering, have warmer skin tones.
And color science.
Dan, we've got to leave it here for right now. Thanks again for joining us today.
If you're new in here,
to talk more along with
if you
Mike
can
Bublo
chat,
of a tour. In a moment, we'll be back
talk,
with
you know, your
Renan
expectations
Osterk
here
and Kurt Morgan.
They're about to shut up for a second. So if you're here in the chat and want to talk, or if you need some information, if you'd like to hear some more information, I have the technology. So far, are y'all impressed with what's going on here? So I see people here right now. They're watching, but they're not chatting. So I think we got a shy audience. If you don't want to chat, I understand that. But if you can throw up a like and push this out to more people, 100% appreciated. Got my coffee. Woke up early today. So I am not from the Eastern time zone. I am from Central, so I had to wake up fairly early to get this started. Okay, so what are y'all thinking of this new camera? Drop in the comments. Let me know. What do you think of everything you've seen here? Everything you've heard? And also, you know, where are you from? Let's get some conversations going, if at all possible. Director, are you still here? Panda, are you still here? At work. Got it. Okay, cool. I understand you can't chat. You're at work. Thank you. Thank you. Watching in the UK. That's awesome. I don't know. It still amazes me sometimes that we're able to communicate across the entire planet. My wife is from Vietnam, and she's obviously here now, but for a long time we were having to Skype back and forth, and it's amazing what technology can do. Welcome. Thank you for joining. So far, I'm gonna little recap if you haven't been listening about this camera. So it's 4K up to 120, Internally, it has SD cards and CF Express Type A dual cards in both, and both the slot takes both cards, which is awesome, impressive. It has 4K 60 in all I, and it records 600 megabytes per second in that mode. Really, really impressive stuff. Also, no overheating to speak of in 4K 60, which they have pointed out multiple times. So that's big. So I'm going to drop out of this. I mean, we're going to stay here, but I'm going to close this out. So over here, BH, it is going to be available September 24th, or expected shipping. It is $3,500. So we can go here. We'll look at some of the more details. All right, specs. So it has the 12 megapixels. I personally am not digging the 12 megapixels for stills.
Welcome back, and thanks again
okay,
for joining us
well, he's
today
talking
on our
again,
special live
so I guess we'll let
cast
him
about
talk.
the A7S III. I'm joined now by Renan Ozturk and Kurt Morgan. Renan is a Sony artisan of imagery, and Kurt Morgan is a director and filmmaker. And before we do our Q&A with them, we're going to show the film that Kurt and working with Renan as well made about the A7S III.
Here, I'm going to take me off. I will like it when they...
What is creativity to me?
I guess you could say it's my oxygen. It's how I breathe.
I will like it when they...
It's how I speak. It's how I communicate.
It's how I look at the world.
I don't think I'd be human.
When they play this back, because this live stream is really
necessary for me,
cutting down the quality.
It's the difference between living and existing. Maybe now, more than ever, storytelling feels like it really means something.
There's a real chance for revolution, and I've used that word specifically.
As photographers, we design worlds and create these experiences for others to view through our work.
I pick up a tool, a camera, and that's my modality of creativity, but you can go out and you can express yourself any way you want. We all have a different thumbprint.
When I have a camera in my hand, it's when I feel most comfortable. When I'm out exploring, out shooting, that's what I feel.
So have y'all seen this part of the video here?
Now,
because they played this earlier.
Getting better and better and better.
The Alpha 7S changed my career. I mean, I could see in the dark, basically, and there's no other way to put it, right? A veil had been lifted.
It completely transformed what I could even imagine.
If you're here,
possible.
if you can chat. I know
It's still a big deal now, and for the
PoXV, I hope I'm saying that right. He's from the UK. He's watching, but he's at work, so he can't chat.
Sony, the Alpha 7S III.
If anybody else can chat, let's drop in here.
It's gonna be a complete game changer.
Come on, baby. 120 frames per second at 4K.
You can't chat. Throw a like on the video, please. Let's get this thing rolling.
It's like you're in a completely different world.
Do you mind standing on the edge?
Help push this out to more people.
We're shooting at 20,000 ISO.
20,000. That's insane.
Clean.
The autofocus is by far superior.
The screen feels nice and solid.
Man, this flip screen is so nice.
Oh my God. How sick is that?
This is unreal.
Crazy.
I seriously want to go back to every place I've ever been and shoot it with this camera.
I don't think I've ever seen anything like that.
All right, so we're going to take it from the top. Buckada, 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 chop.
This is pretty great stuff.
When there is no income, when there is no job, when there is no project, like what does a camera mean? What does it do for you? It still gives you some sense of purpose.
If you're newly watching,
Every once in a while, something comes around.
and
that changes
if you
the way
can
you see the
chat,
world.
chat. If you can't, throw a like in the like so we can push this out to more
But to have it
peeps.
in a small package can help you tell more meaningful stories.
Some of the best shots of our lives right here, guys.
Isn't that the whole point of creativity, to share your stories, to make a connection?
This is why I love shooting. It brings people together on both sides of the camera.
And I would say that in many ways, that's what the world needs more of. It needs more of your perspective, your vision.
And when you find other people that share that vision, that's when you find your family.
Cool stuff.
And we're back with Renan and with Kurt. Watching that film, just so much to take in there.
This has been a long live stream, I gotta say. Canon was an hour in and out.
Yeah, well, we wanted to, we've all been through a quite challenging 4, 5, 6 months, and we wanted to really celebrate and respect the creative mind. And I think creative problem solving right now is more important than ever, and really, make sure that we included at least lightly that in the story, and just kind of the State of the Union and how important creativity is. And so we called it The Way Forward, just, due to kind of, multi-part, kind of, we have to come out of this going in a positive direction. And from a technological standpoint, this camera is straight up the way forward. We got this camera in about a month or so ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, and I had written a lot of ideas and shot concepts for this, and it was funny because I was kind of doing it in the dark. It was a little scary because I wasn't sure if the tech would meet the dream, essentially. And I think Renan probably had a similar experience. You're designing
Wow.
all these ideas, and
So going through YouTube here and just seeing some of the title reactions. Gerald Undone, it says a technical masterpiece. You're hearing Matt Habaja. I'm gonna mispronounce his name, but Matty. He's a big Canon guy, and he says it's finally here and it's insane. So, man, a lot of these video guys, it sounds like that Sony has done something very impressive. Anybody in the comments, what are you guys thinking about this?
I'm so used to using a big camera, and I was a little concerned to use a smaller, more compact camera just because I'm used to using a big
So Jared Poland in Frono's Photos. He does. He said official Sony A7S III pre-review. He's doing Canon versus the Canon EOS R5. He said, I did not expect this. I'm not telling you to go jump on their stuff. Potato Jet, meet my new favorite mirrorless camera.
Want to play it safe.
Damn.
A lot of people might want to play it safe. You wanted to go in a different direction. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, I mean, I've always played it a little risky. I guess, like, you know, for this one, it's like if you're not going to push it a little bit, then you're just going to wind up with the same product, you know. And so I think you know, smart risk taking is really important in filmmaking. But once again,
You know, that no overheating thing is big, and I feel like I hate to say it, that I think that you know, Canon is being hit kind of hard. I mean, they have their advantages. I like the bigger megapixel. I think it's more of a fusion. I like the 8K possibility. But I mean, it looks like Sony has had, they perfected this thing. This was not rushed at all.
That wasn't an easy place to kind of begin. So you're in a state of, you know, nervous energy and fear. And will this work? And, you know, can we pull this off? And, you know, every step of the way, you know, the camera eased my tension and made it a more exciting experience, because, you know, you'll go out and you shoot the Milky Way. Typically I would expose, you know, what, Renan, like 20, 30 seconds
at least.
Yeah, and like, you know, I showed up at our first location, and I remember I went up on top of this hill. I'm like, I'm going to shoot the Milky Way handheld, and I know it's not going to work, but I'm just going to try. And I just set it for a 1-second exposure with the stability turned on, and fired a shot, and it was perfect. I'll post it this week, but I was just like, just shocked. So the fear becomes alleviated through, you know, the progression in the tech.
Yeah. And Renan, you're also making a film that's going to be out within the next week or so, I think, and called The Moonwalk. And not the same thing, but dealt with a lot of the same kinds of issues. You know, you really took a risk in what you were doing there.
So I see some people still in the chat over here, or watching.
Yeah.
Are y'all in the chat?
Part of all this, but the moonwalk is essentially was an idea inspired by a friend of ours who died a few years ago, and it was a combination of knowledge of the landscape and knowledge of climbing and highlining, which is slacklining, so walking a wire in a natural landscape. And this whole art form has progressed over the last, I don't know, 10 years to these incredible
Camera Conspiracies said the perfect camera. Wow. Sorry, R5. Damn.
high country in Yosemite probably 6 years ago, and it was this image of a tiny little figure walking inside the circle of the moon, and I think that really opened a lot of our eyes to what might be possible. So we're trying to do our version of that with the greatest ability that the technology that we could get our hands on could allow us to do. And yeah, we're lucky to get our hands on one of the first units, and was working a lot with Kurt to dial in exactly, you know, how high we could push the ISO to get a clean image. And it turns out that it was really complicated and you know, pretty stressful in the end, trying to get about 2 to 4 kilometers away from the subject as he's climbing. Andy Lewis is who we worked with, is a total character of the Moab climbing community. So to find,
So if you're new to this chat, let's chat it up a little bit. I don't think many people are still streaming this. It's a pretty picture. Man, consensus seems to be so so far of the reviews or previews is it looks like it looks like Sony has picked up the ball that they did what they said they were going to do, and they exceeded expectations. I'm a little jelly, I gotta say. Now I'm Canon. But now the R5 is an excellent camera too. It has its advantages. But damn, Sony really did it. Maybe I was a little rash.
You know, the part where he lines up in the perfect composition inside the circle of the moon at 600 millimeters with a doubler, it's probably only 10 steps on the line. So you want to be able to get that in slow motion and without any noise and in different lighting conditions. And I know Kurt dealt with that, and he shot like 10 different scenarios that were all like that. Like the motorbike was, that shot was.
Are y'all enjoying watching this still? Do y'all want to chat a little bit, or do you think I should wrap it up?
I think that your shot of the I don't know if it was yours or Taylor's, but there was a shot of the drone shot at night with the
consensus of the YouTubers that I'm reading titles from. They seem to be all in on this camera. They think that it's the perfect camera. The no overheating is a huge punch. I think Canon, I don't know what they were thinking, not letting us know about the overheating. It's disappointing, for sure.
Like, it's just such
but it looks like Sony has knocked it out of the park.
And you guys both actually used the camera on drones. You weren't using another camera on the drone. It was the A7S III going up into the air.
Yeah, it worked great. It really did. It was, I was pleasantly surprised at how great it worked.
You know, Renan, I was
drop in the chat if y'all have any questions about
Kurt
this,
about the notion of risk
about what's going on.
And the moonwalk, you know, it's got kind of like risk taking on top of risk taking on top of risk taking. First of all, slacklining.
I'm going here. I'm going to let it keep playing in the background.
Insane because
but a little more information. So it is coming out September, according to B&H, September 24th. It is $3,500. It says a good price for this camera. It looks like it to me. I'm more of a hybrid shooter. I definitely like taking my pictures. So to me, that 12 megapixels does hurt it a little bit. But I gotta say, if I was coming into the ball game right now, Sony has a touch screen finally. They have a touch interface. They have a new menu system. Everything that they're doing here, it just seems to work. It's not real overheating. I mean, 8K RAW internal, excellent, sounds cool, but I can pretty much never use that. So to be able to have the RAW externally, you know, it doesn't bother me at all. The 4K 120 and the 4K 60, it's hot. It's right there. It's everything you basically need. It's your 10-bit. I mean, this incredible low light. It's impressive. And if I was coming into the game right now, I may be picking the Sony. I'm maybe a little bit disappointed that I switched over to Canon so fast. I had the A7R IV, and then it was an excellent camera, but it just didn't have the flip screen. I hated the menu system, at least for what I wanted to do. And I was doing a lot more vlogs, and the Canon EOS R, even though it was an inferior technical camera, it checked more boxes for what I needed to do. And I'm still excited about the R5, but I gotta say, if I was coming into it right now, I mean, they have made up some big ground here. with this S3. They really did, and I gotta say, if I was coming to it right now, I'd be hard pressed not to pick this camera over the R5, and that's just a basic reaction. I haven't seen any real reviews of this yet, but from what I'm seeing here, what I'm seeing other YouTubers say, I mean, damn. Hail Sony. You enjoy my vlogs. Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it a lot. So I'm guessing you're a subscriber of mine. I appreciate it. I like being able to talk to my subscribers. I really like to be able to interact. So you said, hey, hail Sony. So do you thinking, are you, I'm guessing you're impressed by what this camera is able to do. Yes, you can make a request. What is going on? You want me to center myself? I was over here because the mic was over here. Request away. Did I guess your request and get in the center of the frame? Was that the request? You said, "Could I make a request?" I said, "Sure."
And you really see that in some of the stills that Renan has, and we have an article on alphauniverse.com that showcases some of the work that Renan did shooting stills, where you really see that color and in that really low light, it just all kind of coming together. And Renan, what surprised or impressed you the most about the camera, and both for stills and for video?
I mean, it's all the things that everybody's been talking about. Just every single little improvement from the low light is definitely number one. Being able to essentially see in the dark. We were using it as night vision running around in the desert because just trying to figure out where to go in the heat of battle there. But yeah, I just love.
Okay, I like that. Digital nomad ideas for United States. So where are you coming from? Are you in the United States, or but you're just curious about different locations, or yeah, give me a little bit more info. I'm definitely open to that idea as a video. I appreciate the request, but yeah, we can chat a little bit about it now while I kind of can think through some stuff before I can make a video. What is it might take me a little bit to make that video. I have some other ones scheduled out, but I definitely can try to get that posted in the next couple weeks. But in the meantime,
You're climbing a mountain or doing different things. So it's nice to be able to protect
Gotcha. You're not a camera person. Well, that's good. I mean, either way is good. I You're from Tennessee. I'm from Tennessee. That's insane. Okay, cool. I am from the Nashville area. I'm not going to give my address, but yeah, cool. Yeah, I mostly do camera stuff myself with I really enjoy cameras. I really do. I especially got into it with the travel vlog stuff. But that being said, I wish I could be doing more travel vlogging. But right now it's a little bit of an issue. I think we all know what's going on in the world. If I was going to say a digital nomad in the United States, basically most places in the United States has good infrastructure. If you're in a city, as far as internet goes, you can get good internet. The challenge with being a digital Yeah, yeah, they are, and I'd like to be doing more vlog stuff. And I have some more vlogs coming down the road. I got one that should be getting posted next Wednesday. It's a little bit more serious topic, with not super serious, but a little bit more of a topic that is maybe not quite the usual Asian and Caucasian show. So going to Chattanooga. Chattanooga is beautiful. Yeah, I have some cousins that live out there, or my wife has a cousin that lives out there. I guess it's my cousin too, technically. Yeah, Chattanooga's awesome. That's a great place to get a lot of nature stuff. That's really where we are in the United States right now. I think is we're gonna have to be just traveling more locally and seeing like more hiking and camping. That is at least what I think is going on now. Okay, so digital nomads. What is kind of the environments that you like? Are you kind of a beach person? Are you still there? I understand if you had to go. I think Lee. Am I saying your name right? I put Papa at the end, so I could say Papa. I think Papa had to leave. He's been talking. He's been chatting with us, or she can't. I don't know. Sorry. Uh. Okay. Okay. So he's back. Okay. Or she. Sorry. Is it? Are you a guy or a girl? The name. I'm a little bit confused. How do I pronounce that name? I see Papa at the end, so it made me think you're a guy. But then see Lapit. I'm sorry. I'm probably butchering your name. Okay, so you said. Okay, beaches are great. Doesn't have to be a beach. You love anything green. You love the water. Okay. Um, Understand that being a digital nomad is being a digital nomad in the United States. I think you know as well as anybody is just going to be a matter of budget. So that's something that you have to take into account. One of the things great about being a digital nomad in other countries, especially like Asian countries and some South America countries, they're a lot cheaper. And it goes, okay, you're a girl. Okay. LP to make it easier. Okay. Thank you for clarifying. I appreciate that. So yeah, your budget is going to be the issue in the United States. But I do think I'm going to try to do some more research. Of course, most places in Florida are excellent. I think maybe the Florida Keys, that would be a really cool little place that you could be a digital nomad in the United States. Because the Florida Keys, if you're doing some travel vlogging, I don't know what you would want to be doing as a digital nomad. But if you just like to travel, if you're in the Florida Keys, then you're kind of in that Bahamas area, and you can just jump around for wherever you want to be. You know, I mean, there's like 4 or 5 different Florida Keys islands. You have the Bahamas near you. You know, Puerto Rico, Cuba, Jamaica. They're all right down there. So that's an excellent spot. There's also a place off of North Carolina. I can't think of the name right at the top of my head. There was a movie based upon, or TV show based upon it. That was pretty cool, but I don't know what the internet situation is on the Keys or the other. I'm sure it's well. I'm sure it's great. If you're looking for green foresty areas, places in Colorado, um, like if you're like wanting to be closer to like mountains, that's excellent. San Francisco, Washington State, beautiful Washington State. A lot of rain though. Any of those kind of sounding good to you, or do you am I answering your question? So if you were here for the live stream about the camera, he's just kind of chatting about his use of it, which is great, but most of the information stuff has been given. Okay, yeah, Washington State. I've had some family or family that's been there a lot. They say it's absolutely gorgeous. I flew through Seattle before. I think I had a layover in Seattle one time back from Asia. It was really cool to see. They had a big mountain. We I think it was like a huge mountain that we flew near. It was really beautiful. Yeah, Washington State. There's a lot of rain. It can get a little cooler, but I mean, nowhere is necessarily perfect. I think your biggest challenge of being a digital nomad in the United States is going to be your budget. And how are you going to make money? Do you already make money from an online scenario, LP, or are you do you have like a 9 to 5 or your own business? Coffee.
Photographic beast. Definitely going to keep that on me because I love the 61 megapixels. But in terms of me telling a story and me addressing that ratio between having video and stills, just evolving as an artist.
So if you're new to the live stream, most of the stuff has been announced. You got 4K 120. You got 4K 60 that doesn't seem to overheat. Got 4K RAW external 10-bit. You got touchscreen. You got everything you pretty much wanted. They exceeded expectations, or at least hit the expectation, and seem to have done everything well. The price, B&H, it's $3,500. It's coming September 24th. And yeah.
Where I mentioned at the top that you're a budding filmmaker. You know, you're looking forward to using the A7S III
Okay.
and doing a lot more with the video
All right, so that clarifies. So your fiance just finished school, so he'll have a 9 to 5, and you work part time. Okay, so of course that's going to be a challenge. Being a digital nomad, having a 9 to 5. One area, and this may sound a little funny, but my sister is a big Disney fan. She loves Disney. She actually she does some Disney planning, which isn't really happening right now. But Disney Orlando area, I always thought that the Orlando area works really well. I've thought about moving down there myself. The reason being is very cheap cost of living, especially compared to like the Nashville area where we're from. And it's also it's also about 2 hours from a beach anywhere you want to go, and you're away from the hurricanes. So if you actually are living somewhere, because if you're having a 9 to 5, or your future husband has a 9 to 5, then you'll have to have some hub. But if you can find like a job in Orlando that's a fairly high paying job, and there's always stuff you can do as digital nomads too. You can teach English online to there's different kids in Asia and China area specifically that they like to learn English from an American, and those are pretty easy companies to sign up for. So if you were making money doing that, would be flexible, or whatever your part-time is, and then your fiance is working a 9 to 5, maybe if he found something in Orlando, cheap cost of living, you're by a beach either way you go. You have Disney, of course, if you're into that type of stuff. You have Universal Studios, good infrastructure all around. Don't have to worry about hurricanes. I think Orlando's a pretty good spot, personally. If you're new to this chat, then and you're here for the camera stuff, a lot of it's I'm still listening to it if anything else changes, but most of it's all been announced. So me and LP are having a conversation. She is a viewer. I don't know. Are you a subscriber, LP? I'm guessing you are, because you said you see my vlogs. But either way, I'm happy to be talking to LP. She just saw a video of mine about being a digital nomad, and so we're kind of talking about being a digital nomad, and she's wondering about being a digital nomad in the United States. So if you want to jump in on this conversation, you're welcome.
I would turn up to like photo meets, and I'd be the only guy with a Sony. Everyone else had anything else, and people looked at me funny, like, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. And it's been really interesting to see the kind of journey that they've gone on, and how they're kind of like really leading the pack.
We were talking earlier with one of the previous Q&As about usability, and it's one thing to take a lot of feedback and to spec up a device with a lot of that feedback. It's a very different thing to spec up a device and then make it at the same time very usable. So you're talking about taking all that input and making something that's elegant and super usable, which I think is what the A7S III really has in it.
Appreciate it. I appreciate you being subbed. Thank you. I hope that I can continue to put out content that you enjoy. I have an Asian and Caucasian show coming back up. It should be next Wednesday. I'm editing that out, but it's a little less lighthearted. It's not like super sad or anything, but it's just kind of more of a chat format. I've found that the Asian and Caucasian shows are some of the harder shows for me to make, because I am have to be more, I don't know, just myself. I'm not as able to be as scripted as I am with some of the others. So those are a little harder to make, just personally. And so I'm kind of going over on the new Asian and Caucasian show, the 9th episode that's coming out. It's going to be just talking at the park. I hope to have some fun visuals, but it's not going to be quite as bouncy. It's kind of actually talking more about being a creative and the anxiety that you can have being a new creative. And so so I hope you enjoy that, even though it's going to be a little bit different. But yeah, prerequisite being next to a water theme park and water source. So Orlando, I mean that really does sound like it could be for you. You also have California, of course, but that's way more expensive.
Quality you can pull out of the images. And I haven't really had a chance to test out the 16-bit RAW. I'm super stoked to see what that is like. But yeah, usability absolutely important. The fact that there's no time limit is great. Yeah, if you're stuck with the overheating time limit,
yeah,
sorry guys.
It's funny, people talk about that 29-minute time limit. It's got weird reasons why it exists, but this camera doesn't have that, which is just awesome. Because if you're not used to it, it surprises you. It sneaks up on you.
Yeah, it does. Because it's not like
getting a phone call over here.
It just kind of like comes off on you, and that's happened to me personally. So it's not fun to just wonder like, did I? I'm sure I turned on the camera. I did turn on the camera. Oh, it turned off by itself automatically. To not have that is great. And
did I answer your questions, LP? Do you have any more questions? Do you have anything else you would like to chat about? I really am happy that I get to chat live with a sub. You have any other requests or any other video ideas that you would like to see?
We were looking at that clip at the top of the segment, and one of the things that struck me watching the drummer, going was there's like no rolling shutter. Like the drumsticks are moving pretty fast, and if you watch the clip, you'll see that they're dead straight, which is a pretty amazing feat. Just kind of we've become, I think, accustomed to some rolling shutter, but it's not here.
Yes, and I think this is a great time to kind of talk to the point that there are going to be people who want 18 megapixel sensor or a 24 megapixel sensor kind of thing, but the legacy of the A7S range is this low light sensitivity, and the 12 megapixels is what allows it to have no rolling shutter. It allows it to have the great ability to see in the dark. You can't achieve those things without having 12. So to ask for a camera that is all things to all men, I think that might be asking for too much. Maybe in the future there will be the ability to have larger more megapixels and still have the same sensitivity, but that's something that's down the line, and I think they've pulled out a technical masterpiece.
Do you like shooting in those really low light situations?
I do. It's funny, like there are certain situations when low light is just going to be absolutely necessary. You're going to find yourself in places where the light.
Is there anybody else? Oh, LP's still here.
I tend to shoot on lots of primes and wide open, but that's not always feasible, right? But I also just because the sensor is so good and it's so sensitive, like it's also great.
You say yes. Move to Cali. Hated Cali, or South Cali, I'm guessing. You definitely like Northern Cali.
And moving forward, like you said, you're going to be using this probably mostly for video, but you're also planning on doing some still. It's that 12 megapixel versus your 64 megapixel A7R4, but it's still going to have that.
Yeah, I definitely find them. I found them very rewarding. LP. I think I just. There was some other stuff with like the camera ideas that yeah, it's just been a hot time, I guess, for cameras, with the Canon R5, which was a very anticipated camera, and now the Sony camera. So it was kind of a big opportunity for me to start doing some of that camera stuff more, especially considering I couldn't travel and I love doing my Asian and Caucasian show, and I'm starting that back up. But I think the further I got away from it, doing the Asian and Caucasian show, I guess the harder it got in my mind, because I was about maybe about a month from doing an Asian and Caucasian show, and then it felt like, oh my gosh, can I make something that's enjoyable for everybody? And I'm starting to realize that, of course, I want things to be fun and upbeat with the Asian and Caucasian show, and I'm trying to make something that's enjoyable. But I feel like I was doing really well with the Asian and Caucasian shows, and I almost got nervous to do another one because I didn't want to disappoint the people who were really liking them. So I kind of, in the beginning, it wasn't very nerving because I didn't really have any subscribers, and I don't have a whole lot now, but I appreciate the ones that I do. I appreciate that you're subscribed. And so I started putting pressure on my self, and I think that that's what made it harder to do. And for me, where I'm at right now is I feel like with this new Asian and Caucasian show coming up, I'm just going to talk to the camera and not force anything, because I think if the situation happens where I have something really cool going on and really fun, that I've been kind of waiting to do Asian Caucasian shows when there's been something that's like a big event, like my wife's anniversary, or my wife and I's anniversary, or getting the new dog. And I haven't wanted to force anything necessarily, but now I realize I want to be able to create more vlogs, and in order to do that, sometimes I'm just going to have to be like looking at the camera and chatting. And I hope you're still going to enjoy that as well, just being able to talk and not necessarily having a super amount of cool things going on, because hopefully I can be entertaining enough, or at least interesting enough to be in front of the camera talking to it. And yeah, that's kind of because I feel like the more practice I get, the when those great events do come along and those opportunities come along, I'll be better at making what I need to make. Does that answer your question? And I guess my question to you would be, okay. Thank you, LP. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I really, really appreciate that. I do. I work hard on what I'm doing, definitely, and I try. Yeah, I do my best. I try my best. I'm a beginner YouTuber. I picked up a camera though, maybe close to 2 years ago now. Started getting into editing about a year, and maybe a year and a half. So I have had some experience. So I kind of came into it a little bit higher experience with video than beginners usually do. There's always a better level. What do you think, LP? Do you think even having Asian and Caucasian show vlogs that are more just chatting, do you think that that's a good idea, or do you think I should hold the Asian and Caucasian shows for special events and basically make sure there's something very interesting going on before getting in front of the camera? Because sometimes if you're vlogging, I mean, our current situation in the world, we can't exactly go everywhere. So yeah, I guess I'll leave that question to you. Do you like the idea of just chatting, as well as when cool stuff happens? I'll obviously put it in the Asian Caucasian show, and sometimes I'll have a heart to heart with the Asian and Caucasian show. What do you think of that? Does that appeal to you, or do you think I should just keep the same format and leave it super lighthearted and not really worry about just having a conversation? Okay. Well, I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, because I want to be able to share more of myself with the audience. Yeah. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I okay, that gives me more confidence because that's something that I was worried about is doing, and if I started doing just more casual vlogs, uh, that I guess it wouldn't match up to the quality of the more lighthearted, fun vlogs when there's something very entertaining and interesting going on. So I kind of got to a point where I was like, oh, there's nothing like big happening in my life. So I'm not going to make an Asian and Caucasian show. Whereas I really do want to be able to just chat and talk and give a heart to heart. And I want to be able to create more vlogs because that means a lot to me. And that stretches my craft. It stretches me personally. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I'm comfortable with that. I guess my biggest, of course, the more you do something, the more comfortable you get. And I like doing vlogs. It's rewarding at least to do vlogs, but I'm glad to know that you would be interested in vlogs, even if it's not as cinematic necessarily or as entertaining situations going on. Even if it is just, okay, we're going to the park, let me grab my camera and talk about something that's on my heart or on my mind, and maybe something that other people can relate to. I really appreciate that. And then, of course, when there's super fun events going on, then try to create that as well. Another question, LP. I'm sorry that I'm using you as as somebody that, because I don't get to talk to my subscribers live very often. So okay, cool. Thank you for liking that direction, or thank you for giving me your input. Yeah, I'll start trying to do that more often for sure. But one quick question: do you think I should keep it anytime basically that Chui and I are together on vlogs, make it the Asian and Caucasian show? Or do you think I should kind of separate the Asian and Caucasian show as more of I mean, Asian Caucasian shows try to be my catch-all, like for vlogs, but then it became like, oh, I'm getting my hair cut or she's getting her hair cut, and it's like fun little stuff. So should I keep the Asian and Caucasian show being its own thing if there's something very interesting going on, and then have a separate like vlog show? Or do you think don't worry about it, just leave it all Asian and Caucasian show? Because I think, yeah, I might be answering my own question. But what do you think? Uh-oh, Bella. This is Bella, everybody. This is my baby girl, Bella. She's a little camera shy. Right. So yeah, when something maybe is more focusing on me and my wife and I. Yeah, if you get a chance, maybe you can comment, like, I guess the newest Asian and Caucasian show is going to be right. Yeah. Well, she's in that episode as well. She's not necessarily talking. It's not something that's about her as much. So that's why I'm just, I'm torn a little bit on whether or not I should keep that like its own separate brand, if that makes sense, or own separate show. But then I think I might be confusing myself, and I might confuse my audience. I could confuse people either way, because she's going to be in a lot of the videos, even if she's not necessarily um, a central part of that particular one. But I guess the ninth episode that's coming out, it's going to be kind of more like my first two episodes, where I was literally just kind of having a heart to heart more with the camera. And it's going to be less maybe like it's going to be less like the episodes that came prior, or that came after that. Because the episodes that came after were like, putting together a studio, getting her hair cut, me coloring her hair, getting the new dog, things like that. So yeah, I guess I'll just take the reaction of what I get out of this ninth episode, and if people seem to like it that way, then maybe just keep the Asian and Caucasian show. That's the vlog. Whether or not I'm having something really fun go on, or if I'm just having a heart to heart chat. What do you think, LP? Does that sound good to you? I see more people watching. If y'all want to join in on the chat, definitely welcome to. Definitely appreciated. If you need any questions about the camera answered, you can. Or if you just want to life talk, we can do that as well. Okay. So yeah, I think I'll just make the Asian and Caucasian show, or I'll keep it the way it is, of course, with her in it. But sometimes, even if it's just a chat, like the ninth episode's going to kind of be, I will still have I'll still have the ability to make those, just so I can be more consistent with it, just so I don't always have to have the best idea and I can just sit there and talk to people, because I think vlogs a lot of times are needing to be, you want vlogs to be authentic as well. Not that I haven't been authentic with my vlogs, but I've been trying to wait for something that's super interesting to be going on, or me have like a really great idea before I make a vlog. But I think also a part of vlogs need to just be, hey, this is your life, this is your day to day. And so even if it's not something that's super interesting going on, maybe there's something in my mind or my heart that I want to talk to everybody about that I think can be helpful. So yeah, well, thank you, LP, for your feedback. I really appreciate being able to talk to one of my subscribers, and I really appreciate you subscribing and supporting me early on. You really really appreciate it. You want to get banked down? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. I think you're. I really appreciate you saying that, and you definitely given me a lot more confidence to make, I guess, different types of vlogs and not just have to worry about when something is super special that's going to happen, because I think that's what's been holding me back from creating more of the vlogs, besides the being having the opportunity to do more camera stuff, because it's just been a very big and busy time for cameras. But besides that, things have been holding me back as far as saying, okay, well, what interesting is going on? I'm mostly quarantined right now. We're not really going out about much. We go to the park and we hang around the house. So how can I make something very interesting out of that? But yeah, if you're thinking that you're down for being open and honest and just having a conversation vlog as well, then I'll try to start making more of that content, and hopefully people will dig that. If you could do me a favor, when the 9th episode comes out, and I think I try to put the Asian and Caucasian shows on the Wednesday, and since I'm doing a video today, I'm probably not going to do a Wednesday video. I'll do the Saturday video. But when it comes out Wednesday, the new Asian and Caucasian show, if you see it, hopefully you like it. But yeah, if you could maybe just give me your feedback in the comment when that Asian Caucasian show comes out. It should be coming next Wednesday, so about a week away, and you can just let me know, hey, I like this video, or hey, yeah, that this direction doesn't work for the Asian and Caucasian show, or whatever, it doesn't work for your channel. Maybe you can give me that feedback. I'd really appreciate it. So if you're new here, wanting to, I'm chatting with one of my subscribers about the vlogs, and about the vlog stuff going on. The camera, they seem to have knocked it out of the park. Doing really good. Yeah, I know the lag is real in the chat, isn't it? I don't know what's going on with the latency issues. I think it's just I got so much running right now. I could almost stop this premiere. I don't want anybody to be upset if I stop the video. Thank you, LP, for being here. But so if you're here for the camera stuff, they seem to have knocked it out of the park. I'm here on B&H. It's $3,500. It's coming September 24th. If you have any questions on that, or if you just want to chat with LP and I, you're welcome to do so. Thank you for saying that you will help out and be able to relate to the audience. I really think that that you're giving me a lot of clarity on what I need to do. I am at 94 subscribers. I was really hoping to get at least to the 95 mark before this thing was over. Thank you, LP. I appreciate that. Okay, I'm going to pause this video because they're taking a break. So I'll take a break from that video. Thank you. 100 will be soon. Yeah, that's a big I know that that's not huge for a lot of YouTubers, but that initial 100, you know, that's it definitely, it will feel good to hit that 100. Definitely. So yeah, if you know anybody, LP, that would be into the type of content that I make, then just share it along if you don't mind. But only if they like this type of content. I don't want people to join and then never watch, because that doesn't help anybody out, and that I don't want somebody to join just to say that. That's why I've been very reluctant to get friends and family. I mean, I have some friends and family that watch and subscribed, but if they're not going to be into the content, then I don't really want them to be forced to just try to help me out, you know. I want them to enjoy the content. I want them to be part of the community, and it'll help out the channel, and it will help. It will be enjoyable for them, if that makes sense. Yeah, yeah, it's pretty cool to think about that. You know, yeah, that's the thing that I think we can. Anybody can kind of get that, where we kind of get that comparison thing where we're looking left and right. We see somebody with 1,000 subscribers, 10,000 subscribers, or whatever the insane number is, and we kind of forget. And I'm trying my best not to forget that each subscriber is an individual, and each subscriber is a person, and that's somebody who watched my stuff and said, oh wow, I like this guy enough, or I like this guy's content enough that I don't mind being a part of this community. I don't mind following him along in his journey, and I'm really extremely proud of that. And yeah, it's quite insane to think that 100 people, you know, will choose to say, hey, I like this guy, I want to keep following him, or 100 people in a room saying they're being interested in you, like you're saying. That really helps put it into perspective, for sure. So tell me a little bit about yourself, LP, if you have time. What do you said your fiance is about to get out of school. I'm guessing you're saying college, or he's going to have a 9 to 5. You do part-time work. Are you interested in, you obviously are interested in being a digital nomad, but what do you want to do as a digital nomad? Just travel, or do you have any like particular hobbies or work passions that you're wanting to do? If you are new here, I keep repeating this, but if you're new to this, I'm just kind of going along. I've been watching this live stream. Consensus is Sony knocked it out of the park. It seems to be a very impressive camera. Right now, LP, who is an awesome subscriber of mine, she's interacting with me. She's helping me out, giving me some advice on some of the more vlogging aspects of what I do. So if you're new to this channel, if you're into like vlogs and cameras and travel, well, maybe this is the channel for you, and consider subscribing. If you have any questions about the camera, shoot those over. If you have any life questions, shoot them over. Yeah, for sure. I love traveling. I mean, I've been traveling for probably, the last 7 or 8 years. I traveled a whole lot, different places, and I've always wanted to take a more longer stay. That's what digital nomads really interested me. I've been to Vietnam 6 times, I believe. I probably spent a total of 6 or 7 months there. Outdoor activities, theme parks, etc. Gotcha. Yeah. The reason digital nomad interests me is just being able to live and being a part of a different environment, and being able to obviously have and generate income helps if you want to do that. I've really enjoyed Vietnam just because I have family and friends that are there now, and my wife's family's from there, and it's extremely beautiful. I love it. But that's what I mean about being a digital nomad is traveling is great, like a vacation, but a lot of times, unless you stay there for at least a good extended period of time, it's hard to I guess experience the full culture and to get a feel if you're just being a tourist. So I think that's something big as far as wanting to be a digital nomad. And that's kind of what draws me to it. Yeah, nature and outdoor. Yeah, my twin and I were wanting to go to maybe do a Fall Creek Falls vlog, maybe go camping there sometime in the near future, and make some travel videos around that. So yeah, kind of like my Mingo Falls video. So where have you traveled, LP? You said you moved out to California for a while, very expensive. Have you traveled much out of the country, or do you get to travel often? Nice. Iceland. Yes. That Iceland looks very beautiful. I'm not usually a cold environment person. But and I know Greenland's technically the colder of the two, which is confusing. But yeah, Iceland looks extremely beautiful. It was on my top 10 list. I don't know if you of places to travel after quarantine. So I don't know if you got to see that video, but it was on there. Hopefully all this stuff can be taken care of shortly. We can get back to some normalcy. To be honest, I don't think we're going to be traveling out of the country probably for another year. Sadly, but it gives you time to get your passport, and hopefully, I don't know when you and your fiance are going to be getting married, but hopefully it'll give you time to plan that. Appreciate that. I think it was on that video. Now I'm questioning myself. Yeah, I'm pretty positive it was on that video. I know Iceland was, but I don't know if it was that video. But the top 10 places to travel after quarantine. I think it was number 8, I want to say. Well, LP, do you have any other questions or anything else you want to chat about? I'm gonna have to be getting off here pretty soon. I'm gonna go be visiting my grandmother. She is 95, and she's quite a fun one. But we're gonna go see her here in about I think right around an hour. So I need to get ready for that. But if you have a couple more things you want to shoot at me, then yeah, go for it. If not, then I really appreciate you being here, and I appreciate everybody who's tuned in and have watched, and I really appreciate you, LP, for giving me all your feedback and for being a subscriber. Will do. Thank you, LP. Thank you, everybody who has watched or been watching and been a part of this video. Camera looks amazing. Looks incredible. I'll probably have some more videos about it, comparing it to the R5 coming up shortly. So yeah, it's gonna be a busy week. LP, you're gonna probably have to deal with a few more camera related videos for sure this week, just because it's a busy time. But I'll try to be adding the vlogs back to it. Like I said, next week it'll be another Asian and Caucasian show, and I'll try to make those a little bit more frequent. And I think we all know what's going on with the travel stuff. But thank you for tuning in, LP. Really appreciate all of your feedback and your support. And yeah, hope to stay in touch. And yeah, I appreciate everything. And so yeah, keep making videos, and hopefully you'll keep watching them. Till next time, peace. Now I had to figure out how to cut this off. Oh, this is embarrassing.